Okay, let me. I just got to
Right.
do
Oh, I
something
got
here.
an echo. Okay. That might be me. I think I fixed it. That was me.
Okay, it sounded like a wave. A wave was coming to me.
Yes,
Like
that's my intro.
I I was like, what the hell is this? A tsunami?
It is. It's so good to see you. That was so bizarre. If you only knew the amount of things that got me here, to find you right now just seemed, I don't want to say, I don't want to add too much importance to it, but in a way, a somewhat full circle as, as I've been, rearranging how I'm going about the world at this very moment. And it just seemed so weird to me that there you were.
Oh, no, I totally get where you're coming from. I know those experiences, so I completely feel you on that. And I'm trying to remember though. I'm trying to remember you. Did we talk face to face or,
We
what?
talked on the phone. Yeah, and just here, me and you. Hey
Okay.
T Sharp. Uh, I don't tell much about my personal story. You're one of the few people that, because I was a lunatic at the moment,
Okay.
I did, reach out and for clarification, and you helped me so much. I don't even think you
Oh,
quite realize,
yeah.
you know,
Well, so
how much.
you know what? I always, it's always wonderful to hear that, because, uh, yeah, it's just always wonderful to know that what I've done, it has made a difference. And so I really appreciate it when, people give me feedback like that. So,
Yes. I'm not one to hunt you down, but since you showed back up, I thought, well, look at that.
well, you can, yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. And it's good to chat with you. So yeah, we can rock and roll and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I did have a schedule today that was supposed to, but
Oh, actually, we are live right now.
we are live.
Oh, we are live. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll explain a little bit what's going on here. I'm grounded. Joni Rotten is grounded from using StreamYards or YouTube in any way because I was a bully apparently when I read some articles. Now, I could have been hit by someone else just being a jerk. So whatever, I'm still grounded for a week. I did appeal my video and I said I don't see anywhere where I sound like a bully there, but okay. And they, of course, they reject that. So I've never had any of my repeals ever come through. So I get
Yeah.
hit often. This is like my fourth channel, and mostly all I do, I don't actually I have opinions, but I'm not. I read articles and I do videos on what I see. I don't share false information. If you wrote a
Hmm.
research paper on it, that's not my fault that I came across it.
Hmm.
Kind of thing. So that's what's
Yep.
going on here. And come Tuesday, I'll have my channel back, and then I can go back to streaming again. Mm.
But you're streaming now.
I'm streaming now. I got friends in high places. You he is not as, this is just his channel, so he lets me use it
Uh-huh.
whenever I'm grounded. So it's very sporadic, and I can't always know who's going to come and send, but I have some really awesome friends. So I
Oh,
think
good.
you'll enjoy hanging out with us some.
Okay.
Smoking at G Sharp's a smart girl. Are you a
Who?
girl, G Sharp? I think I remember you being a girl. I've known a lot. I've been on YouTube for, oh geez, 7 years, 6 years now, I believe, altogether. But streaming for 4 2019 I started. No, yeah, 2019 I started streaming.
Hmm.
Hmm. And so some friends I've known for this entire time. That's been fun.
Nice.
That's been a fun journey. So, what's been going on in your life? What are you? Have you written any books since the last Unspirituality? I think that's the one I have.
Well, I wrote my biography, Unspiritual Spiritual Journey.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if you haven't, yeah, and I've got a short documentary on that. I had a 5-week Kundalini experience in May of 2014, which really changed much of the trajectory of what I was doing. I was still doing the unspirituality, exposing the woo, but I opened up a huge door in the inner work and exploring the inner work and teaching my what I have now on my website, zennlauren.com. You should go there. There's a lot of stuff there. And I opened up a mystery school. It's in the works, but I have a lot of information there about, basically explaining that, the Kundalini is all natural, the magical inner realm is all real. There's a realm in nature that's real, that's unlocked from the inside,
Mhm.
and basically explaining how, you don't have to be wooey and believing in all the delusional stuff to have the real thing.
Right.
And so the new age, in my opinion, I mean, it's really a very, um, I don't want to say childish, but in some terms it can be childish, but a lot of people very young on the path who don't understand the nature of Maya, don't understand the nature of the inner world, and take so much of that literal. And so I explain what the real deal is, which is rooted in your childhood, your inner child, how to release the psycho emotional energy in you that people call spiritual energy. And my experience, having been in all of the new age and everything, is this is the real deal, and in a body based organic way of opening up the realms. But you have to be taught right, or you get caught in Maya, in the delusional aspects of this. um, and so that's basically what I focus on, is really evolving from the inside out. And then as far as, all the stuff I've been talking about, afterlife and all that, just being brutally honest about it. It's like, know what you know, and apply Occam's razor, which is the simplest explanation, is usually the right one. And if you're going to be talking about things that, are really speculative, say they're speculative, and don't pretend to know things that you don't know.
Right.
And so just bringing everything into a very realistic form, without throwing out any of it. From day one, all
Yeah.
spiritual experiences are valid, but there's so much delusion in this field. My work has been to, as a sword, cut through it and show what it is that, the pitfalls of the path. But you should check out the website, zennlauren.com.
There.
Z
Yep.
Yeah, ZZENNLOREN.com, and that's where all the new stuff is. There you
Mhm.
go.
Yeah. Well, when I did meet you, I was having a lot of problems because I was dealing with what I've come to now know is a narcissistic person who was really just making my life a living hell, and so I was appearing crazy to all those around me. Um, so I had to do a non. I'm a no contact person now,
Mm,
where I don't have a mailbox, I don't have an identity. This person just can't even bother, they can't drive by my house anymore. They can't change my password. So I just
nice.
kind of walked away from all of that at that moment. I had to, I couldn't have a Facebook page. I couldn't have an email, or everything that I touched. We had to get new computers, new phones, everything that we touched got infected somehow. I know how. I mean, he was, a very smart person, but, anyway, and so that kind of got me, broke off doing my own thing, and doing a lot of my own research, and doing, that know thyself work, because I don't believe in supernatural. I do not believe in supernatural. Okay. There is a logical explanation, regardless of if I have to allow for some,
Mm,
fantasy along or imagination.
hmm
But I spent years now breaking apart all the peculiar little things about my experiences and what they actually were telling me. And so here, now here I sit. But you were an intro, very important part of that,
mm,
because you said something, and I've told many people about you before. So,
mm.
it's exciting. They'll know now, that you had said something to me, about, when you have this experience, you're going to feel like something special. You're going to have this God moment. And I did experience that. And I have to tell you, because I was prepared for it,
Right.
it didn't get to me. I said, oh no, I know this. He told me, Zzenn told me I was going to feel like this. So just hang on and stay grounded. And I did. I worked from a space of what I could prove, what I could tangibly grab. And then I stayed away from everything that seemed outside of that spectrum. I'm just now recently, that's why I've come back to you, because I've just now recently started exploring the near death aspect. I'm actually going to do an interview with a girl that's got a channel for that. She's not very well known, which is one of the reasons why I've picked her into. It's something I kind of need to do as a way once. I'm not saying I'm going to make a circuit. That's not my personality. But there are so many people out there that have had these experiences that have a hard time grasping, like me, like you, grasping this out of the world type concept. And I feel like, you know,
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I understand. And you can take your camera off. We don't care about cameras in this room, so that's
No,
totally. You can strip down in your
it brings more humanness. It brings more humanness to it. But if you want me to turn the camera off, I can do that too.
No, you can do that. I don't like my camera on. I don't like the humanness.
That's fine. So I'll bring in balance in here.
There you go. Yes. But so for, I thought it was time. I actually refer to my spiritual side as my upper self, my upper being, my me that talks to myself, my gut. It's my own voice, but I did have some supernatural experiences I have yet to explain. There is one that I have no explanation for. And I'm not sure how far out there I'm willing to go to accept an answer for it. So far, I haven't found any that fit for me. None of them.
You want to share
it? Yeah, I can. So I did have the cobra snake illusion that I've already compartmentalized why I had that, where that came from, at least to a degree I'm comfortable with. But then after that happened,
what is the cobra snake illusion?
Well, I was sitting smoking a cigarette. I was awake. I was sitting outside. I was awake, and then I had like a near fainting episode. I have syncope, so I know that I have a condition that causes me to faint or near faint often, and have my whole life. So it explains a lot of things from when I was younger. I've since gotten diagnosis since I've talked to you before, and this gorgeous, iridescent, vibrant rainbow cobra just up in front of my face, right in front of my face. And I have no fear associated with this symbol. It's beautiful. It feels soft. All of those good descriptions. There's no fear involved. And then, I don't know. Did it fade? Did it disappear? Did it move? I don't know. At that point, I started to have a voice. It was a female voice, my voice. Give me a minute. And she says, do not, maybe there was a high, I don't know. You know how it is. It's not really a voice. It's just kind of a conversation you're having in your own thoughts.
It's just like what happens in an NDE.
Yeah,
it's telepathic.
And basically it says, don't ever give your power to any person, place, or thing ever again. Don't give away your power to any nouns. And which sounds exactly like something I would say to myself.
Right.
And then here's the peculiar part. So then within the next, bit, hour, maybe, I had the only time in my entire life that I can remember, other than being a child, having another voice outside of mine. And it was a male, and he gives me a name, and I go, okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, prove it. I'm like totally not buying any of this. And I get 5 things, and he's this idea of go type it in the computer. So I go and sit down the computer, and I type in these things. And before I hit enter, I go, okay, this is silly. I wrote it down. My husband was actually home or around at the time. I can't remember if he's in the house, outside the house, but it was, I talked to him around this time. So he verifies that, I did seem very off and thrown back by it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I click enter, and then their very first article is this woman that is throwing out papers from the very town that I got the name for, with it was like a railroad, a name, a town, a date, a month. I got like 5 different things. And she was currently typing in crap. She was told to throw away a bunch of papers from a closet. And instead of doing that, she decided to start uploading them because it was like a little segment about why she's doing this. She likes genealogy. Anyway, I click on the date there and I start to scroll, and there's the name. And it says railroad, and it says, the date, the month, and it was like from 17 something or 18. I have it written down. As the memory faded, all I can remember is the feeling that I had, like a total disbelief here.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I hear this, I'm like, actually, before I looked it up, I was asking, like, who are you, or these kind of ideas. Not that I didn't know of the concept of ghosts or whatever, past lives. I've heard of these things. But it said, I've been with you. I'm your imaginary friend from when you were a kid. And I did, in fact, have an imaginary friend when I was a kid named John, who was an older brother type figure. So he was late teens, young adult. I could vividly see him. He got my mouth washed out with soap one time. I had a very much like, what's that movie? Drop Dead Fred type, fun experience. But anyway, so then, I found that, and then he said, scroll down, and my son is there. And I was like, what? Okay. And I scroll down. What the fuck? So I have yet to figure out what that is.
It was a very profound synchronicity.
It was beyond something I can put down to, dreaming. Okay.
Right.
I had no idea. There was
But it was a synchronicity. Like, it was a series of things that happened that were just like mind blowing. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's fair. I'll allow that. That's a fair question to ask myself as I'm trying to figure out what
it sounds technically like synchronicity. You know what I mean? Like synchronicity is a meaningful event that happens that is, it's like, wow, how the hell, I've had crazy synchronicities where, whether I had a dream or whatever was going on and something showed up right in front of me, which is like, are you freaking kidding me? Or, or a series of events. That's what it sounds like to me. You may define that differently.
Fair. What I have come to the conclusion of what I'll allow right at the moment, right? Because I don't believe in, it's not even believe. There isn't reincarnation as the way. It doesn't feel right to me. So if it is for someone else, that's excellent.
Yeah.
But for me, it doesn't feel right. So for me, I go by what feels good. And so that doesn't feel right in the way it's presented. I have my own idea how that might work.
Yeah.
I also I don't believe in, or I don't like the concept of ghosts or angels or anything like that. So I don't know yet. What I can
that's perfect.
Is at that time, because of where I was, in my stress and the way the world was presenting itself and unfolding in front of me was such in itself an out-of-body experience, even though I wasn't out of body. It was like waking up, finding out you're married to a serial killer. Everything you thought you knew was completely backwards instantly. Wow. So I feel like I was real open at that moment. And so the possibility of my mind to go places that, who knows, I could have read that in a newspaper article or in a book or, who knows, but I felt like at that moment I was very open. And then he left just as soon as it showed up, as soon as, it was kind of another, well, there I am. Yeah, that's me. Okay. See you later. And then never again, nothing's ever come back. I do have the name. I do have that piece of paper, although it's in a box that's in my attic. So I can go back and look, but the fact that my mind won't hold that memory of those details tells me that it's not necessary. That's not what I need to be. I don't need to recreate it. That wasn't the point of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else that's happened to me, I can explain. I can find absolute explanations that don't sound sci-fi, that keep
Yeah.
me grounded, that make me feel comfortable. And so I feel like at that point, this is where I feel like now I've proven that I put the work into what I'm doing. So I don't need to come out and say, "Hey, everybody, I have near-death experiences. Don't you want to hear what I learned?" I don't feel like I need to do that now.
Hmm.
I think that's secondary to what I
So
research.
you're just so how are you being in this now? How are you doing it in
Yeah,
life?
yeah. Keep going.
You're just kind of flowing. You're just flowing with whatever interests you, and don't feel any compelling need to, you know.
No, I'll
Uh,
tell you this. When I started YouTube, the reason, and if you don't mind, that we have 6 people in here, 6, 7 people. They're not all chatting. A lot of people just listen to me. Okay, I
mm-hmm.
just, he knows why I said it. But what I did was I decided that I needed to break apart. I had a lot of those same things, the math, I got the relativity. I had all these weird experiences. I saw the numbers. I get all that. I got all that. But that. Everybody gets that. I want something different, right?
Right.
I'm a little bit too curious for that answer. So
That's a natural byproduct of crazy people that are on the path, because you go crazy when you're on the path. Like I'm batshit crazy because of the path.
right,
That's a compliment coming from me, is what I mean.
fair.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you have to be, because you're stepping way out of the norm, and you ask questions that are absurd to average people. I have to always watch myself when I'm talking to people. I live in a town of tourists, and I can spark conversations. And what's normal for me is batshit crazy for other people, and I don't realize it till I've already said it, and they're looking at me like, I've had people just like stare at me and walk away, and I thought, what did I say that? I'm like, oh, and I have to remind myself, you know, it's crazy, but
Well,
having experiences like your experience. Could I share a quick?
oh,
Do you want me to
please.
share a quick experience that your experience reminds me of?
Yes, please, please.
Um, this is just one of many examples, but it made your experience, and I don't have a complete picture of your experience. I kind of got a cursory from what you were sharing. So if I don't reflect it back accurately, just let me know.
Not
But
one of those
this,
people. Then go for it. We share thoughts here. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I like to be clear on communication, because I can't communicate about something I'm not clear on. But this is what
Right.
it made me think of. In This is just one small example, because I was thinking of synchronicity, but I think also, you can define these in different ways. Sometimes we can call them high magic, but I had wrote a song called what was it, Only Love. And this was when I was in Phoenix before I came to Sedona about 28 years ago. I had wrote it about 5 years before that when I was in California. And so when I'd write these songs, there was always like, it was just kind of flowing through me. And then there in some cases when I wrote songs, there was extra that didn't fit in the song, but it just was like automatic writing, it was just flowing out.
Sure.
And so in this song, I had an extra, and I would keep it. I would just put it at the bottom. Like, here's the song complete, verse, chorus, whatever, bridge. But then there would be something on the bottom, and that I would use if I was playing live, if I wanted to bring that in and kind of mix it into the song potion.
Hmm.
And so what came out here was about a fire that burned. I wish I had it with me, but it was something about once it was this, and then it burned down in a raging fire. You were once this, and
Right.
now only ashes left. So I'm this is a very crude
Hmm.
recreation, because I don't have it with me, but it was very clear on this in the way that I'm putting it out there. And so when I came to move to Scottsdale, I met this woman called Stevie Revis, and she was Mick Jagger's hairstylist. And I just ran into her in a bar, and we started hanging out. And uh, she was dealing with a drug problem. She was very, sort of high upper scale, very rich family and everything. So we hung out for weeks. And so one time I was playing my guitar and she leaned over and put her head on my lap, and she was smoking a cigarette because she'd be all, drugged out and smoking cigarettes.
Mhm.
Not all the time drugged out, but you could tell she was. And so I had the picture, the paper of the song "Only Love" there. And so I was playing it and reading the song while she was laying head on that. She was smoking a cigarette. And I noticed that her cigarette started to lean down towards the paper, the song paper, and it started to burn a hole in it. And for some reason, I stared at it, and it was like, we'll just let that happen. I didn't know
Uh-huh.
why. And a week later, she died in a fire in her apartment. She fell asleep with her cigarette and just basically burned and died in a fire.
Wow.
Well, where she burned a hole was right around the area where it was what's left here, which said, you know, about this whole thing that was left over about somebody who was this, and then everything ended in a
Right.
raging fire, and I still have that to this day. I have it in a frame, but
Yeah.
that's what it made me think of for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, that's
So
very interesting. So could I see, to me, I would call that coincidence up until recently,
okay.
right? So the
Mm-hmm.
synchronicities, like I said, I'm just now trying, I look at everyone else, not that myself, but I mean to accept my experiences as
Mm-hmm.
supernatural struggles. So, what, I'm a coincidence type of person. So does this go along with the idea of how much I pay attention to my surroundings and give it meaning? Did you feel, obviously that was a moment where you felt like it was, you had a slowing down almost, maybe, where you say you looked at the paper. It's almost if time slowed down for you and you took an
Well,
observation.
it's just one blip in a lifetime of those. So synchronicities got to a point where I just threw my hands up in the air, and this
Uh-huh.
is the way my life still
Right.
goes. I mean,
Right.
it happens all the time. Absurd. When if you read
Right.
my story, on the Kundalini and
Mm,
the song "Stairway to Heaven"
mm,
and what happened and all of that, I mean, I wrote a whole biography on it, and people who read it, they say when they open it, they can't stop reading it. It's a book that I wish would get out there more. I just utterly fail at promoting books that, especially my biography, which it's got 19 insight keys. Everyone who reads it that actually take the time
right.
is a 5-star review. And I had to republish it. So now on the new, I do have the old reviews but I had to republish it, and they wouldn't let me put it on the original Amazon page with the original reviews, so it's on the Amazon page with no reviews. But the
Right.
point being, it's a fantastic story, and I mean the magic in it and everything. I mean, it's not just because it's my story, but it is just a you know. I was like, God, I hope someday it just gets out there, because the level of synchronicity is absurd, and it gets to a point. Well, now how do I explain this? And so this opened up a whole new door of how to explain this, and you get to have these experiences when you open up to them versus the person who doesn't open up to it and doesn't get to see them. So it is a coincidence on this level of awareness in everyday life, but when you start going deeper and deeper in the inner world, then because you're seeing what you're experiencing inside. So for instance, if you're, whatever it is, if you're just on the regular coincidence surface level, let's just say you're like, oh, the Rams are playing today, they're
Right.
playing
Right.
the Raiders or whatever, and you notice shit about that. You just notice stuff about that.
Right.
Like, oh, oh wow, interesting, dude. That's crazy, man. I love the Rams too. You love the Rams. We must be soulmates,
Right.
just joking about it. Well, on a deeper level, as you start working, let's say, with your inner child and you start releasing occult force, especially if you go to the level of occult forces inside of you, that this is where you start getting initiated into these areas that could put you in an insane asylum. So this is why initiations are very important. And that's why I teach that you go specifically through your inner child, because the dragon power will never harm the inner child. So
Beautiful.
innocence, 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 innocence down into the root, and she will guide you, or he will guide you, but your inner child will guide you. And so through that way, then you're safe with the forces and these occult powers that are very, 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 oh my God, like magnetic, and you've got to be initiated into these forces. So on this level, then you have what I start calling high synchronicities or deep synchronicities, I want to say, which are like literally like, it's almost like you just stop talking about them
Right.
because you're just forget it. Just forget it. And so for me, it's just normal. On my YouTube channel,
Of course.
yeah, on my YouTube channel, what I set out to do with the other one, more specifically, this one really has been focused on, just continuing people to say, will you do a review on this or that, this person or that person? But on the other one, what I sought out to do is, um, is yeah, simply notice them. Yes, yes,
Right.
exactly. And that's kind of almost the non-dual on being lived. There it is. But what I've sought to do on the other one is to show people my life so they don't think I'm full of it. I'm like, look, and I've had experiences. I'll give you one example where this happens all the time on the channel, where I woke up, I forget what it was. I saw something about bees. It was something I was looking for since the Kundalini experience. This happened this year, a couple months ago. I saw bees. I go, I'm going to do a live stream on bees. So I did a live stream on bees. I was talking very specific things on sort of occult meanings about this and how it was connected to this, that, and the other. And then I did the live stream. I walk into the library that I have been going to every day for a year, and they're having a bee day
Of course they are.
where they're
Yeah.
wearing bee
I
costumes.
think that's what Affluent is saying.
See
What
what
are
I'm
the
saying?
odds? Well, if you're hanging out with me, the odds are pretty high, actually. That's the
Yeah,
odds. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think to me, though, I kind of view that as if I'm surfing. Like I love it
yeah,
too. To me, I'm like, of course it is. That's just so you can start to use them as kind of like a little, water slide, a little guide. Push, yeah, you came right over here. You hit this side of the slide, go over there, hit that side of the slide. And you notice this rock and then that rock. And as you go down the path, you're just there. You're just in it as long as
yeah, yeah. It's almost in a way like when I was younger on the path, I felt like I was using them as markers, right?
right, right, right.
Now I feel like I'm being lived by them.
Right,
That's
exactly. I think
better,
that's a
right?
way better way to say than
Yeah,
what I just said. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I can see them up ahead. I assume they're there. I already assume that it's going to be there.
Interesting. I have no success in trying to make meaning of them in any significant way. That's an interesting thing to say. Huh.
What do you mean by that
Yeah,
affluence?
yeah. I'd like to know more about that. I have no success, emphasis on
No
trying
success.
to make
Well, I'll tell you
meaning.
this. Okay, so affluent, you've known me for several years now. You know that I use the number 13 as a sign for me. That's what I consider speaking in tongues. So when somebody says I speak in tongues or I speak the language of God, well, okay, that's your language. This isn't mine. So a number or a symbol or a fear, an animal, spirit animal, whatever it is, those are all going to be specific to me. And then if I don't,
Speaking in tongues is a very useful practice, by the way. It can be a very interesting practice, but go ahead.
yeah, I would love to hear, this is just my take on how I view it because my upper being has symbols that are specific to me
Mm.
that you would see you don't get because you don't understand why the sock monkey, because you don't know why I had a sock monkey. You don't remember the memory they
No,
gave me the sock monkey
it's
when I
yours.
was
It's your subjective language.
right. So I think that's where a
Yeah,
lot of people get caught up is that we all have of course, we all like the number nine. Nine is the magic number. Everyone knows that, right? You learn that in school, but that doesn't mean that it means that for everyone. Nine could mean one thing. It can mean 9 lives
right.
to a cat, and it could mean
Yeah.
completion to an awakener.
But
You
the
know,
fact that it was noticed by you, and
Yeah,
it happened for you is
yeah.
why it's sacred and it really is the magic. See, that's why people poo-poo it. It's like, no, you don't understand. I didn't say that number 9 is a religion for everybody. I'm saying that it happened for me. It was noticed and reflected for my inner core being, and it was magic, provably magic for me. Results happen, period. So
I
that's why when people try to poo-poo it, it's like, no, I already got it. You can't take it away.
exactly. I have now one of the things in the community of truth, let's just say, in the policy of truth, wasn't that Depeche Mode anyway? Um, there there seems to be this missing part of things where we're not. I see gematria, I see your symbols about the triangles. This is what I had left you very long. It didn't look that long when I typed it, but when it comes up in the comments section, it's like that. Why do people see 11? Why is 11 11? I know you tell me it's an angel number and every single website gives me the same answer, but why is 11? Well, let's think about what goes on in your mind when you're 11. What is happening to the physical body when it is 11? What is the transformation that takes place during your tween or double digit years before hitting? This is the kind of stuff when I'll give you another example. People use the term lie. I mean, 3, the number 3. Well, 3 is the age we learn to lie. That's the age we learn to lie. So your symbolism there can go deeper just because we're not recognizing the number, the age, the behavior, the pattern that is human being in itself. We're so busy saying 3 is a triangle 3. What does that mean to you as a human being? If God
Right.
said I'm the answer, hello.
Well, I teach the focusing method. You familiar with that?
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been teaching it from day one and much more so more recently, which is basically listening to your body and observing what's arising in and around you. So 11 or 3 that are, if someone was telling me that, I go, well, what are you experiencing with it?
Very good.
For instance, your friend maybe was saying, I have no meaning. So if I went up to somebody, I was having a conversation with somebody one time. We were talking about the focusing method, and they said, well, I feel numb. I don't feel anything. I'm absolutely numb. I said, where do you feel that?
Right. Where is the numbness? That's interesting.
Exactly.
Mm,
So I help people describe exactly what is arising. So someone says 11. Okay, how is that happening for you? Well, where is it? Well, I see it up to the left. What color is it? That. What else is arising?
fair.
The sense of feeling dumb that I'm talking about it. Where's that at?
Right.
I should, whatever. And trying to describe the art, the subjective art that is arising in and around you to be able to
Mm,
describe it. So the urge to put it into some meaning is happening for me. Really? Can you be with,
right.
how is that for you? How does that exactly feel in you? So that's the thing that it's like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. So when I work with people, I do a conversation with somebody. I really enjoy it because I get to explore what is happening in the moment as it's unfolding inside of them and to help them look at it. Because typically you look through it, right?
Right.
Whatever biases or whatever ideas you have. So you're looking through it. Now we're in a story of you experiencing this, right? But then I
Right.
have them pull back and look at the one who's looking at it and how is it happening for you, and in the moment, in the present time pull, how is this happening in the present time pull? Because people tend to go into the story of it and then now we're in narrative, and it's fine, but
Mm.
you know what I mean, like present time pull, how is it arising in and around you?
Well, that's was a part of therapy that I always really gravitated towards. I like
Mm,
the idea of sitting in self. So I'm telling a story to my therapist about, some event when I was a kid. This kid did this to me.
mm.
And she goes, okay, now stop for a minute right here. Don't go on. Stop at this point in the story and tell me, how are you feeling?
She knew exactly what she was doing because that's Eugene Gendlin.
Yeah,
That's how we got focusing, and that's the type of therapy where people get results.
I agree.
Stop, be in it. You feel like you're gonna cry, be there.
If she
Don't
did,
pass
I
it
go, I'm
up.
not crying. She'd go cry. I'm like, I won't do it. But here's the thing, though, is that's something that you can take outside of them. You don't have to continue to see that therapist. Once you understand the basic skills and you've gotten a grasp of who you are
Yeah.
and you've accepted your traumas, then you
Yeah.
can do that on your own and save
Yeah.
yourself thousands of dollars.
I tell people all the time, you don't need to see me more than once. Some people have come back maybe 3, 4 times, and I'm happy if people want to chat more. But what
Sure.
I don't therapize them.
Right.
I teach you the focusing method. And once you get it, you're done. And learn critical thinking. You're done. The rest of it is your inner world showing you and following the guidance of your inner world. You just knowing how to do it. And the keys that I give them, which is Eugene Gendlin's keys that he
Right.
personally, before he died, gave me permission to put the focusing method in my book. Um,
Excellent.
just
I
learn
think
that, and you got it. You got it.
that's the third eye focus, though. All these people are so caught up in opening pineal glands, they have no idea what they're talking about. This is what it. We
Yeah.
focus. This is your. I've been raptured. You've been raptured already, Zzenn. I'm gone. I'm not of this world. I've already, just because my physical body's floating around here, as far as I'm concerned, I am raptured. I don't know why. Well, I'm standing next to somebody in a field, proverbially, an office, a Walmart. They're not raptured. They're still afraid. They're still scared. So I think it's our perspective. Somebody else that's waiting for dust to come and scoop them up. I hope that happens for you. I really do. Because people who don't get wishes like that end up being very upset and do irrational behaviors. So I really hope that works, because I can see a lot of very desperate people feeling like they've
Well,
been
it's just being
abandoned.
honest. It's just being honest with yourself. That's why it's easy. It's like
Yeah.
basically I say, well, what are you sharing with us? What are you teaching? I'm teaching you how to stop lying to yourself. That's it. I'm not imposing anything. I'm not asking you to believe. All I'm doing is showing you what is already happening in you. So if you're sitting there pretending that you're not angry, and then there's a judgment of being angry that's within that, and it's knocking on your head trying to get your attention through nightmares and through broken up relationships and through depression, well, it's trying to get your damn attention. Are you lying and pretending it's not there, or are you going to wake the fuck up and look at it? Because it's there. Your unconscious is always rising, trying to bring what's unconscious to the surface and eventually to move it through the top of your head. Depends on how far you want to go with it. But I've had it all move through the top of my head.
I blew the top off, Zzenn. I don't even have a top. I'm like
Yeah, your buffers got
crater
blown
now.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when your buffers are blown out and you go crazy, and you got to bring them all back in, and some new way of bringing them in so you can participate in the circus.
Well, before all this, though, so as a child, so altogether, I've had 4 near-death experiences that
Wow.
are, let's say, confirmed. All right. So I've never died in a hospital or anything. These have all been traumatic experiences. I was abducted. I had another incident with a friend's dad, and so I've had this bizarrely. So those things, and then I have the fainting, which causes me to have out of body, vertigo, any of those types of experiences.
Do you have veridical experiences?
Do I have what?
Veridical, where you're above your body?
Oh yeah, I have full blown out of body. I also have visual. I know I have a condition. I know what it is, but
Yeah.
it's really neat though, regardless of the visions that my brain gives me. So that is where I started breaking down. So I said, okay, I'm not going to believe that these are of supernatural. I want to know why this is what my mind is giving me. Is when my mind is the one that's giving me the answers to heal myself. Then I have to pay attention to these experiences and realize that they are dreams, and I must interpret them as such.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I approached, because it would be so much fun to tell and go, I could travel the whole world telling people about all my really awesome adventures that I go on in these experiences, and be telling them with a truth, a conviction of truth, not made up, right? But I don't know. That feels wrong. So can't do that. They're my. It's for me. It's it's kind of like it's your body, so you don't necessarily have to share it with everybody, kind of thing. At least that's how it presents for myself. So I like this group. I like my friends here. I like my support system, and so I feel comfortable now starting to talk about them.
Yeah,
Because
sometimes it takes a long time for you to be okay with your limits. Like that's the experience I've had. Be really okay and not think I need to be in a different way.
yeah, I kind of like my life. It's fun. I have roller
Yeah,
coaster rides, good days and bad days. But on the bad days, I get to have these weird
yeah.
experiences. So I probably have an out of body at least once a week experience. Lucid dreaming. I didn't know. Anyway, my point is, forget all that stuff. When I was a kid, I had these experiences. So I have a condition. I was born with something that I'm predisposed,
Mm,
and
me
and
too.
so it. I never talked about them. I didn't even know lucid dreaming was a thing. I kind of assumed everyone dreamed like that, so I had no idea. Why would I know? Why would I know? Um, and then I
I got
started.
I got I got diagnosed with bipolar type 1,
Do
which
you
I
agree with that
believe.
diagnosis?
Oh yeah. I
You
mean,
do.
I don't. To me, I think all shamans throughout history were bipolar. All it is a term pointing to you have your genetic structure
Mm.
is you have wider, you have access to extremes that the average person doesn't.
Would
That's
you
all.
also categorize that as the common use of I have autism these days?
I mean, those are very close. I've had some people have said that I might be autistic and also um, Asperger's.
Right.
Um,
You know what? I don't agree with any of those. I don't have any of those things. Even if some doctor wanted to give me those things, I don't have those things. Here's what I am. I'm awesome. That's what I am. I think people do themselves a disservice by trying to.
I see it as a gift. I don't see it as a deficit.
Fair. And that's fair. I mean,
And the diagnosis is that's just the way they communicate it.
yeah.
I can only handle like, I am hypersensitive
Mm,
to the pain in the world. I mean, I've bawled and heaved tears for 3 hours straight over all of the children suffering throughout history,
right.
and so it's a very difficult burden to bear. Um, so I just got in 2017. My experience in altered states of mind, they are not for others. It's a personal experience. I don't value people who make a show of such experiences. Can I respond to that?
Oh, always.
Yeah. So I just like to say that um, that is not a judgment that I share, unless it's in a particular way of well, okay. I don't know this. I don't know you, so I don't know exactly how you are saying that.
Sure.
But I've debunked a lot of phonies out there that use a lot of times made up experiences to profit from it, and it's very like there's nothing authentic about it.
Snake
But
oil.
for me and my Kundalini experience, all I wanted to do was share it
Hmm.
because I felt like I didn't feel like it. I had gone to a place that 99% of people never experience. And it is there's kundalini experiences, and then there's what the big one is, what I call, which is it's like the water breaking at the base of the spine. You hear a pop, and you can find this out if you go in the history of Hinduism. You can find that there's the big one where the snake travels up the spine. It's a big deal. um, but my point is that the archetype of the hero is where you go into the dark forest, you survive it, and you bring
Yeah.
gold back to the villagers. And so that was the impetus,
The
the
motivation.
motivation for me was I was so excited about what I experienced, I could not talk about it. And
Right.
so, but there's also, I just, there's so many phonies and so many people pretending to know things they don't know. And so many people that are young on the path that are have caught in the trap of false enlightenment,
Yeah.
and they'll start lecturing people like me, who I have a history, I have a biography, I
Right.
own my
Working.
experience, and yes, and I know when I'm around novices and children on the path, because one of the key things about the younger ones on the path is they pretend to know things they don't know and start acting like know-it-alls about shit. You can, if you've been on the path a long time, you know shit, and you know
Right.
it well, and you can teach it, and you can be tested. I mean, some of my best teachers schooled me, and they knew how to school me, and they humbled me. So when
Mm,
you're around the real deal, be careful, because you may get taught a lesson if you're around the real ones.
right.
And I learned the difference between that and the young ones that read the fucking Law of One, and then they get on and they're a guru on YouTube. No,
The towel. Um, would you?
if you're looking in some way, shape, or form,
I think your mic is doing something weird. When I can't really hear you, and I saw that. Make sure you're plugged in. So, there we go. Oh, it's still there.
Can you hear me?
You're very muted. It's as if the plug has come somewhere. It's like real strong or something. No, now I don't have any sound. That's so bizarre. Do you want to try? Oh, wait, hang on. You might be mute. Let me see. No, you're not muted. You have, yeah, your mic's not connected. That's what it's saying now. So something must have come out, slid out. Hello, Crystal. Welcome in. Might I introduce you to my friend Zzenn? He is a really cool guy. Yeah, Zzenn. Yeah, okay, we're getting it. We're fix our, and then don't forget to unmute yourself when you get. Well, I think you didn't mute. It says it's not connected. So. No. Try unmuting your mic. Is your mic muted? You might have to refresh the page. Try refreshing and popping back in. Do a refresh. No, I still don't hear you. So Crystal, so we're waiting on you, Zzenn. Don't worry. When I first had my experience, I met him online on his YouTube or Facebook actually, and he was kind enough to talk to me, and I got his book, but I just ran into him the other day doing some more research again. No, we still can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Nope, you're here.
You can hear me?
Yes.
I must have accidentally pressed mute.
Okay.
Did everything I was talking about, did you were able to hear the end of that, or did it mute after I completed my
complete static? So that's why I had to interrupt you, because we couldn't hear anything. It just went all crazy. So go back to, if you can remember.
What part did I end on?
I would have to rewind in my mind.
Okay.
Hang on.
Well, I was just saying, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what do you remember me ending in? I can do a synopsis. I was basically just saying that the younger people on the path, there's pitfalls on the path, and those of us who've been at it a long time, who own it and not afraid to own it, and not going to do the false humility thing, is, oh, I don't know, let's continue to pretend I don't know shit. No, I know shit, and you know shit, and other people have been at it, and time does make a difference. If you've been on the path 40-50 years, I'm not going to have a little conversation with a 25-year-old who just read the Law of One.
Right.
So you learn, you grow in wisdom, you grow in authority, you become seasoned and if you've been through the initiations, and you've had experience in the occult forces and stuff, and those are the teachers that I that I followed, the ones that were real, who could school me, and I was humble enough to be schooled by them. What we have and what I've dealt with them to spirituality is just an epidemic, probably because of Google and access to occult knowledge, but also access to silly stuff like like a lot of the channeled stuff, and then they fall into the trap of false enlightenment. Leo Guru would be one of those, and then they just go off. All of a sudden they're enlightened masters, and I've had a lot of them come up onto my YouTube channel over the years and try to school me on all this shit. And I'm like, you haven't suffered enough to be
Right.
able to talk from experience. So don't start schooling me. And you just, when you've been through the initiations, there's a certain authority that comes with it. And what the hell you're talking about. And it's very common for people mature, have been on the path a long time. But if so there's just common pitfalls that happen, and there's always those who think that you should forever be on the treadmill. Well, that's another trap. No one ever becomes the Buddha. No one wants to become the Buddha because you want to constantly be in a place where you're not becoming the Buddha. You don't want to own your Buddhahood. And Jed McKenna, who I heard recently passed away, who wrote the book Unspiritual, what was it? Spirituality, the damnedest thing, something like that. But he talked about that. He goes, isn't it interesting that everybody is always like talking about getting there and no one gets there because
Right.
it's too conceptual in their mind that, oh yeah, I couldn't be that great. And how I teach it is you're already it. What you're doing is you're undoing everything that you are not. And that takes a process. You think you have a persona, that you are the good kid that needs to get approval of the father so you're not beaten to death. Well, that becomes a somebody that you forget you have become. Now you are this person as an adult. Well, the inner path is you just is discovering and undoing this persona, and this takes work, and it can be crazy time in
Mhm.
going through this process. And so this is the real work. And so what you have mostly with so many of these younger people on the path and get these instant YouTube channels, and they think it's their spiritual powers that have made them get 100,000
They're
viewers, and
regurgitating
it's really
whatever.
because they're attractive.
Right.
You know what I mean? But just one point before I forget it. What was I going to say? Is oh yeah, so what it's about, and this is part of the path. It's okay, but I'm just explaining it. Is they're told everything about that's fun and easy. Oh, we're going to send. They're on this journey of light and love, and it's fine. It's part of the path, but it is the lower level delusional part of the path in the light of Maya, until you bump into reality and your shadow comes in and flips you out and cracks all of the light and love stuff that you thought was so eternal, and brings you down to your unconscious, and
Mm.
you have this moment of existential horror. You're like, what the hell? I've been such a good person on the path of ascension. What has happened?
Mm.
Well, what's happened is you're experiencing the Job moment. You're
Right.
experiencing the Christ goes to hell moment. You're
Right.
experiencing the descent of the shaman,
Hmm.
and you won't really have it until you've really experienced that. And anybody that's around you will know it if they've been there.
Right.
And so
So you
this has
can
been a
tell
big
by
part
the
of what
language that
spirituality is about.
people use. So, for example, in say 12-step programs, I've heard people
Mm,
describe to me that they can recognize maybe another addict by some of their daily talk,
yeah,
maybe at work or things.
yeah,
Another one is, maybe you can tell somebody's a baker by the language that they use.
yeah.
And for me, I can tell who's really been hit by a narcissist and who just had a bad breakup, because the language you use, I
Yeah,
can tell if you're really awake by the language you're using. So we can hear in each other, this person, this is it surprises me how quick they just regurgitate. They have an experience
yeah,
and then they regurgitate what they read. I heard
yeah,
somebody recently on another, off the wall channel like you and I, just to people with a few hundred people that will listen to us, but um he was going on and talking about, calling out people for for going, saying that you've had this awakening when you haven't. Just, you have, it's almost as if you went, you skateboarded, you rode a skateboard as a kid, but you've never been in a half pipe. You've never dropped or done a handrail, or, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're a poser is what I called it when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. And I thought that was really interesting. And he was saying exactly that. They stop questioning. They stop questioning. They start regurgitating. They write a book. They start selling me, teas and fruit cocktails, and
Right.
you know and so just describing that, he can almost smell them now. The minute one pops up out of somewhere, you can smell what their motivation is,
Yeah.
you
And I
know
mean, it's a part of the path. I've been confronted with it because they tend to come and lecture me,
right.
and you know what I mean, and tell me, and kind of spit on me and just say, oh, you need to read this. I'm like, well, I read that back in the late '80s.
Yeah,
No, you need to read this. I'm like, have you even read my book?
yeah,
No, it doesn't matter. You don't know anything. I was like,
right. Read
and
this
it's
book.
and
He's
and it
famous.
isn't about, the
Buy
thing
it.
is it isn't about knowing everything. It's about, there are some people who are compelled to do this work. I was compelled through generational child abuse. So
Right,
all I've done is this. So this is a thing that I specialize in. It's not my perspective of this isn't for everybody, but I'm not pretending that I'm not like like a master carpenter in my life, in my understanding of this inner world. Like, this is all I've done. So I can tell you from a very experienced perspective, it may not speak to you, but I'm not going to pretend that my entire life has not been about this since the time I was 4 years old. This is all I've done.
right.
So I carry, a certain amount of authority in this area. If that maybe that's not the word, but you know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to listen to you if you've been at this a long time. I'm curious about you, but if um, if you're just read the raw material and you're attractive and you got 100,000 subscribers and you're regurgitating the raw material and you're posturing like you're some freaking guru, I'm sorry, but it's your experience. But don't come to my channel lecturing me because you look funny.
Mhm.
I don't have all the answers, but I do know my inner work really, really well. And I know how to teach people it. And if it works for you, fine. It might not, but it worked for me,
I'll,
and
I'll tell you
does
how
that
I
make
had to
sense?
do it. Yes, absolutely. Because for me, authenticity was very important. It always is. So
Yeah.
whatever I learn, I actually want to think if I can come up with the answer first, and then I want to
Mm,
validate that answer. I want to
mm,
go and talk to my upper being, go to sleep on it, say, okay, I want to know this question, right? I
right.
want to know why people, because I love why people do what they do. That's why I study human behavior. I want to know why you do what you do, why I do what I do. That's know thyself.
Yeah. And the difference between you studying human behavior for an afternoon and
Mhm.
20 years
Right,
should compel people to listen to you. The
right,
difference, you know what I mean? I think it's just an important
exactly.
point.
Well, and I exactly that, because people stop. I want to. There's way more to this. So, but when you're doing that know thyself stuff, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And so when somebody tells me that, this book, I love books that inspire. You're a book on my shelf, okay? But I needed to jumpstart. So something inspires the thought. And then
Right.
before I go and read ahead, I want to see if I can't guess the ending. I want to know, the whole time I'm watching a film, I'm dissecting everything as if I'm the detective. I want to know if I can guess who Scooby Doo is, who they're going to uncover before they do, which one of
That
these
sounds fun.
characters, is.
That sounds like a fun way to do research.
Well, but then, okay, here's a know thyself. What was my ultimate dream as walking into my junior and senior years in high school? What did I want to do? I wanted to be an investigative journalist. That's what I went to college for. So my whole life was nothing but puzzles. I wanted to be a Quincy one time and be a coroner because I like the idea of
Right.
solving mysteries, solving puzzles. Know thyself. right? I like to solve things, and I like to solve them on my own, which meant that in my path of enlightenment, it's important to me that I solve these myself. And then when I get stuck in the game and I can't quite figure out where I'm going to find this piece, I don't know, then I can resort back to a friend that maybe, hey, you've played this game before. Do you remember where I'm supposed to find that? Can you guide me a little?
That's why you're a good person to learn from and ask questions, because you have asked. Like, your life is asking questions, so people should inquire from you. You know what I mean? You know, the more, there's a saying that when you're younger on the path, you have more possibilities. The more mature you are on the path, the fewer your possibilities are, and the more you relax into your limits, because you know, so a seeker is going to ask all of these wild questions, because you've been smitten by the seeking curiosity fairy, and you can't not, you know, you can't, your mind is exploding with 70 different, you know, they're
things before
breakfast.
Yeah.
It's a garden of questions, and you live with it, you know, and that's why you know, you're the type of person to learn and you know, learn from, and you know, ask questions. And all I did was learn from people. That's all I did. That's all I did. But when I had the explosion in 2014, it was like the path just kind of completed itself, and the searching for the self and the knowing self, there was no need to. I mean, the story is pretty amazing. I got a clear, thorough, full understanding through and through of my entire inner world, and it blew out the top of my head. There was nothing else to search for. But my curiosity and wonderment continues. I am very curious about the universe. I'm very curious about all sorts of things, but I don't you know, I don't have any questions, really.
Right. Oh, right. Well, and I get that. Let me see if this is how you mean that, because how I heard what you said, and it reminds me of sometimes I'll have people in my life that will get on to me because I can't seem to not keep. I just want to learn as much as I can while I'm in physical form, for no other reason, but because I might not get a chance to hold a book again. I want to read a book. I want to learn.
Right.
You know, I don't know how this works.
Fun.
It's fun. When I get to my envision of heaven, so what my fairy tale-esque mind creates for me, it makes a lot of sense if you knew me in my other lives and growing up. But I want to walk in. I have this vision of walking in, and they're like, "You did it! You got it! You got further than anyone else." That's where I want my show. That's where I want my party. That's where I want it, you know, to go, Jody, go, Jody.
See, I had that experience in 2014.
Okay, tell me.
It was a full. I mean, the story. You have to read the book, and I've also narrated it for free on my other channel, Zzenn Lauren. I've narrated. It's 30 videos, I think. But no, my whole inner world, we had a celebration. The Kundalini blew with listening to Stairway to Heaven, which goes way back into my early years, and following the occult forces around that Zeppelin and all these. It's just this huge story, and it's hard to just, you know, give you a little tiny bit. But I will tell you that the celebration happened. And I arrived, and everybody inside, it was a big it was 5 weeks. And there's a whole story of, you know, I was led to over here underneath Midgley Bridge, and there were 2 deaf women that seemingly were watching me and almost like overseeing me. And I mean, listen, I could barely walk. I had the spiral going out the top of my head.
Were you in an amnesia state?
What's that?
An amnesia? Were you having?
It was pure God. It was pure God intoxication, and there was shape shifting on the inside. My body squeezed out my old self. That's how I became Zen. I could stare at the sun as long as I wanted. I had white. My tongue squeezed out white fluid. It was all over I had 4 people with me, including a psychologist of 40 years. The whole time that witnessed what happened. And so it was a celebration. And so, yeah, so there's this whole story of one part of this where I went on, I was just following, and I went under the bridge, and I went and climbed up this mountain, and I got to the top, and I was reaching and I couldn't get to the top. I kept reaching, I couldn't get to the top. And then it was like, it stopped, and it was like, it's done. You don't need to, you arrived, you know. Is that, I forgot, I'd have to move into this a little bit deeper, but I'm giving you this. And once it was like I had reached it, and I wouldn't let go. Like I had to keep going. I had to keep going. And it was like universe said, no more.
Right.
And you can come down now.
Hmm.
And I came down, and then these magical things happened with the sun. And I mean, it's just this wild story. And so you have to get the whole story to really believe it, you know,
Will
to
you
understand all of it.
tell us that story one day? Can I have you come on when I get my channel back? Will you join me at my other channel and just tell us that story? That sounds fascinating.
Cool. I've never told the whole story because there's so many details, but I think I could do a narrative, because to believe it,
just, you know, yeah, free flow thought here. We don't,
yeah, to believe it, there's
your experience. Nobody gives a crap that much. We just like hear, because I can identify when it's real. I can identify with it, even if it's, you know, I might, well, it worked different for me, but I get it. I get what you're saying. Yes.
The details are just so delicious in narrating, to really believe the brevity and depth and the magical world that opened up, that I still live in to some degree. But I want to clarify one thing, is that when I say I reached it and I don't have questions inside, it's more of like, it's a physical, psycho-emotional thing that happened. I had wings pop out of my back, subjective wings, which is, if you look at the top of the caduceus of the Kundalini, all throughout history, and you'll see this on my website, there's always wings at the top of it. Well, I had no idea that that's what happens. So this is why I say it is so crazy that in order to believe some of the things I talk about, you'd have to understand the details around it to grasp it. But I want to make one point here, is that when I talk about this celebration in the completion, it's like a flower. So a flower is growing and a leaf pops out. This is not ideological leafing. This is, it did happen. You have moved and changed on the inside. It's real. There's no believing and talking, you know, there's no like, pretending to have something have happened in you. You are nature. You are like a plant on the inside, is the way you move. This body moves, and your inner world moves. You can feel it sometimes flowing down your arms. You can feel when a release of a trauma, and you literally gush energy, and you cry or you laugh, or all these psycho-emotional experiences, and it changes your form inside. And so what happened for me is like my flower bloomed out the top of my head. I have a star right up here. And so it's like, okay, it's like people misunderstand that. Like, okay, so you're all enlightened and you know everything. You're missing it. I'm saying that I bloomed. I bloomed. And it's kind of hard to relay that to people, because they don't really understand, because they think in terms of, the enlightened master walking around that knows everything.
Right.
It's not it. It's you become what your seed self was born to do. And it happens through psycho-emotional release, starting with your inner child into the root of your childhood. That's the best way I know how to explain this stuff. And either it works for people or it doesn't, but I own it. And, you know, that's why I try to really share the details. So at least if somebody thinks I'm full of shit, at least they have enough details to go, you know, to understand my full of shitness.
Right.
You know?
Hold on just a second. I heard a crash. I'm going to share a video with you. It's the first video I ever made for my YouTube channel. You will see. So I hope that you get what I'm trying. This is a piece of art that I've made here. This is an expression of how I viewed the world. I've done a few of these. I lost my channel. I had lots of these, but this particular one, I relay the two sides of things. So the lyrics are important here, the images are important, and it's broken into segments between past, present, future. So it goes And I think you'll get it. But I used things to represent what was happening and what is happening. So, for example, somewhere in there, you will. So I reversed it a few times. You will see, say, some girls twerking, and then the representation of that will come later when you see the earthquakes in Oklahoma. Okay, so you have these visuals of, you know, what we're doing and what's really going on. My interpretation of.
Wow.
So we'll play that now. You tell me what you think here.
That sounds very.
One of our friends is in it.
Odd.
I did a little Benito. Benito comes in for a cameo. Do you remember him?
Mm-mm.
No, you will when you see him. I'm sure you've been a Benito killer. Hang on, let me find it. Okay, here it is. It's called The Grim Repeater.
Okay.
Not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies lit up the world as I fell asleep. 'Cause they fill the open air and leave teardrops everywhere. You'd think me rude, but I would just stand and stare. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slow. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. 'Cause I get 1,000 hugs from 10,000 lightning bugs as they tried to teach me how to dance. A foxtrot above my head, a sock hop beneath my bed, a disco ball is just hanging by a thread. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. Leave my door open just a crack, 'cause I feel like such an insomniac. Please take me away from here. Why do I tire of counting sheep? Please take me away from here. When I'm far too tired to fall asleep. To 10 million fireflies, I'm weird 'cause I hate goodbyes. I got misty eyes as they said farewell, but I'll know where several are if my dreams get real bizarre, 'cause I saved a few and I keep them in a jar. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, because my dreams are bursting at the seams.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Do you like that? Did you get it? I bet you get it.
You made that, right?
I don't know how to do any editing.
You,
It was listening to the song, and those were the visions that were coming in my head.
yeah.
And so I had a friend at the time, and I said, hey, if I throw you clips, can you do me together? And he says, yes. And it looked great.
I love your mind. Absolutely. And that's all I could think. I mean, it almost brought me to tears at one point. I was just like, God, I love your mind. Because it spoke so much, there were so many things that you went from here then to there and then to like here and then to there
you got it. Oh my God.
Oh, I know that one. I know really, really, really well. And it was so wonderful to experience.
Well, I have to tell you, when I made it was my first video on YouTube. And when I put it up there in 2017, I expected it to go viral. I was like, everyone's going to go, oh my God, they see the answer to the universe. But no.
Yeah, good luck. Unfortunately, listen, it's unfortunate that it didn't go spiral. I shouldn't say good luck. I mean, it was worthy of a viral video, but I've had that same experience and I get conspiratorial about it. It's like, I know my stuff's not bad. Right. And I know compared to other channels that I see people just like, well, yeah.
I'm not a mean. I'm not a mean. So I'm not one that's going to pass out my business cards. I'm not a being. We have a whole world full of human beings right now. There's nobody being anything. They're all.
I love the mean thing. Yeah.
And
there's channels that just suck and they get like 70,000 views. And I'm like, it's got to be a conspiracy because I know I'm not that bad, and your video. Now did you know I'm homeless?
I kind of wondered if you weren't living in your van.
Yeah, I'm homeless.
But what's uncommon about that these days? It's where you're at, Zzenn. You got to get out of the area. My dad is in Arizona. I've told you that. I think before I mentioned I have family there. And
your family in Arizona? Oh, okay.
My dad says Sedona's awful. Now they have a cabin up there, that they own. I guess they lease it out. I'm not sure exactly who lives in it at the moment, but my dad says, I grew up there, so I've known nothing but Arizona, right? And up until high school, but
I wish I could remember your face. I can't see your face, but I wish I could remember our conversation because had you told me you grew up in Sedona, that would have been
I grew up in Phoenix. These are
spent a lot of time in Sedona.
Mm-hmm. But North Arizona was every year we went to the mountains. Every year we went to the canyon. I love the Grand Canyon in snow. So I always tell people if you're going to go when it's winter because it will look like a postcard in the summer, but in the winter it looks magical. There's something really beautiful about it. That's my own personal opinion.
It's in my blood or I wouldn't be here because the tourist has just gotten stupid.
That's what my dad says.
It's just it's like bumper to bumper. It's, when I came here 25 years ago, it was a magical place and it was, everybody knew everybody. And now it's just the monkeys come in and they got to deal with all the monkeys and all their little this and that and the other and their ATVs and all that bullshit. You bring the city in here and then you're dealing with, more issues. Yeah. And it is what it is. What can you say? I'd like to be able to find another place that's like Sedona 25 years ago that's got lesser people, but I'm kind of stuck here because my business is here. And, until I have the finances to find another place, because the other problem is the land is in my blood. Mm-hmm. And so when I leave it, it's very difficult transition, but yeah, your father is reflecting it accurately.
Arizona is a very magical place. I totally get it. I found growing up in Arizona in the 70s and 80s is one of the most beautiful, magical, amazing places in the world.
Right.
I remember driving through the streets of Phoenix and just the giant palm trees, and how you felt caged in by them because the roads were only 2 lanes back then. And
I know it was so. And the land is still, wonderful. And I still have to remind myself to be grateful because I do live in a place, even though it's gotten crowded, that's just heaven compared to a lot of other places.
True.
And the land is still beautiful. It's more of a just kind of like a disappointing, like you've been here a long time, and then it's like a whole bunch of a crowd of people came in here and brought all their shit, and it was like, but it was really cool when it was, you know, I mean, you got away from everything to come here, even though it was new age
Right.
wooey and stuff. You're still a different vibe of people and a different connected to the earth and even that Native American feeling. And now it's just like cars, 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 and people who don't wave at you and people who don't say hello. And, I couldn't get to the vegetable aisle 25 years ago when I came here without hugging 5 people
Right.
and being assaulted with a fucking UFO story, which I love. You know what I mean? And so, it's just the world. I have a podcast called the Apocalypse News Podcast, and I 5 days a week. So I report on the news and what's going on in the world. But the world's going freaking nuts, and we're that far away from World War III. And we're in the apocalypse, man, and things are about to get really bad.
Do you think there's a way to go back and stop what's happening, or do you think can we Superman, or is the rotation too far gone?
It's been in the works a long time, and there's nothing stopping it, in my opinion. The transnational elite. This is opening up a can of worms, and I'm not going to go because I don't want to bore everybody.
No, but I'm curious to know how many pieces of tinfoil clothing you wear. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I've been at this a long. This was alongside.
Your husband's made of foil.
Yeah, this is all part of my spiritual journey. Was learning back in the 1990s, reading people like William Cooper, Behold the Pale Horse. I knew Jordan Maxwell personally. Just being around the people that were exposing the New World Order, which is admitted. You can just type in quotes from about the New World Order. You openly admitted by the who's who of the planet. You got the Great Reset, and it's out of the box now. So this is not like conspiracy theory. There is a psyop going on right now from what I call the mutants, who are like everything's a conspiracy theory. It's just a psychological operation. There's always been conspiracy theories. It doesn't mean that they're all wrong. There are some, like in my opinion, flat Earth is just goofy time. But what's really going on with the transnational elite and their plans and all of this stuff for their global government is a natural outflow of evolution. I'm for globalism. I'm for transhumanism, but I'm against tyranny. What we're experiencing right now is a repeat of history, and it's a lot of people don't even know what's going on in the country right now. Like we're being.
Before you get too far,
okay.
Just backtrack.
And if you don't want me to talk about it, we don't have to.
I do love you to talk about it. No. I just want to know exactly. I want to make sure that your definitions and my definitions, so we all are agreeing what these terms are, because some people. Okay. So globalization and transhumanism, those two words popped out at me. You say I'm for them. So what is your definition of them? Because clearly I don't think we have the same definition. And that's why I wanted, because I'm not for them. But I don't.
First of all, I'm not part of any political party. I make fun of the left. I make fun of the right. In my opinion, right now, the left has a lot more material. But
like a comedy act.
yeah. Well, if you listen to my podcast, I play circus music all the time.
Right.
The right can't seem to separate church and religion.
Church and state.
Church and state. It's like it's a secular document. Why are we laying hands on Bibles? To swear in our president's stuff. And it's a horrific document. The Bible's a horrific.
Right.
Old Testament is a horror of a genocidal God. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but let me just say this. Transhumanism, I believe that nature created a human species to create AI. And right. So what AI is basically all the cell phones and social media and all this stuff has been one sentient organism. Basically, a AI system has been drawing all of the information and data out of 8 billion nervous systems to create really a new species that is kind of like, we're kind of like the cicadas of AI, so to speak. So
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
yeah, and so will it end up making us extinct? Well, species go extinct. This is part of nature. Nature isn't always pretty.
Right.
Nature's got puppies and flowers, but it also has man-eating predators and fun little gazelles that get eaten alive, and their little children do. So you lift up the spirit goggles, and it's an insane asylum. But so what's nice about the technology that's being evolved out of our nervous systems is that it is offering things like, and it's a double-edged sword, because I know, it's very scary. And if it's the people that are running it, if they don't like the human species and they're very nihilistic, of course, they're going to do bad things with it. And then if you got pro-human folks that are doing it, they're going to use it for good. For instance, if you put say a brain chip in and it can instantly heal cancer, or is it going to mind control you? So this stuff. So it's tricky, but I see a value, just like the medical industry has improved things from 200 years ago when you had an abscessed tooth, or your freaking your prostate blew up, and you can't freaking pee. All of these things, massive improvements. You can sit on the toilet while you're taking a what and talk to grandma in freaking Europe. So these are magic. This is magical Star Trek levels to our ancestors. So they would give their left ass cheek to have one day in what we're experiencing. So globalization is what I say is two things. One, we are a species. So becoming aware, this is the stop lying to yourself business. We are a species. We share the same earth. We share the same air. We share the same water. We share the same atmosphere. We share the same universe. We are a primate species. We have the red blood. We're a monkey flipping ape empire. Okay, whatever. We're living on the planet of the apes. The apes don't know they're apes. We are a species, and yet we're suffering from this inherent shame. And this is why on social media, on Facebook, you're never going to see one of those posts, where you got the Facebook post that's got a flipping ape on there and says, be brave and courageous, right? You're going to have a fucking lion there, or something that you find that's noble. You're never going to find a freaking, ape.
It is an ape. It's like a silverback gorilla. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Or a spider monkey or something. It's like, oh, this is like, no, we innately, push away reality. It's like, and yet we're 99% related to the freaking orangutan over here. So this is all part of the delusion. Like we resist reality. And this is also a part of why I like Thomas Ligotti's work about consciousness. He says consciousness is kind of like a deficit in a way. It's not only a beauty, but it's kind of a horror too, because we're conscious of our death. We're conscious of the crappy shit in the world. We're conscious of the unfairness in life. We're conscious that bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people all the time. So we invent stories of wonderment, and the lion with the be courageous today because you're a lion. That's why you're not going to see the freaking orangutan sitting there with a goofy smile that looks a lot like you on a bad day, and saying, I'm wonderful today. So, but my point is to recognize really the beauty of who you are as a human animal that's evolved, and that we have a frontal lobe, and it's beautiful, and our interactions are beautiful, and to own that. And so I think we need to wake up and stop warring with each other, stop killing each other, stop fighting with each other, and realize that, what the mythical, in my opinion, Christ said, the golden rule, you are a part of me. And so why would I want to hurt you? I have natural empathy. I don't need a religion. I don't need to be threatened by hell to love you. It's natural empathy, as Joseph Campbell talked about. Now, there's that. That's my version of globalism, and having an empire, a global empire that reflects that in the best of ways and is pro-survival. So for me, what is good is anything that is pro-survival for self, family, friends, city, world. What is sinful and bad is anything that's anti-survival. So anything
Right.
that's taken away from the growth and the expansion and the beauty and the love of the species. The transnational elite and their plans for humanity is not good. And they've got a club and you're not in it.
Right.
And I highly recommend, if anybody thinks that, this is crazy talk, go to vigilantcitizen.com. Vigilantcitizen.com, and they do have a membership thing, but you can look around.
That is in here, so you're fine.
Explore that, and you'll see the club. And these people's a very elitist club. They want to get rid of most of the monkeys.
Well, then I have a gift. I was given a gift when I was on the other side. Okay, do you want to know what it is?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I channel boardrooms. I have an absolute
what?
Boardrooms. I am a professional brainstormer. So I proverbially, in my fantasy dream world, I channel the thoughts of brainstormers, the guys that sit in boardrooms around Knights of the Round Table and throw ideas of how, I don't know, we could control people and stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
So
that's why I say I love your brain. I love your,
I'm really good at it. I did that my first practice run here. I said, okay, what do I need? Let's just stay. I am a person, right? And there's no God. There's no gods yet, but we have a God. And then maybe I just asked myself, well, what if I could get people to do that for me? What if I could be a God? What would I need to accomplish that goal? That's how any idea starts. I want to fly. What do I need to get to flight? Right. And so then you ask a bunch of people, you have a round table, they all throw ideas at you. Maybe you have your own brainstorming session and you throw ideas on the table and then you start picking from ones. Well, there's only two that I need to be God. I need to be able to recreate God's miracles. So control the weather, control death, control sickness, heal, all of these things. And I have to understand humans and all behaviors and what makes people do what they do. Once I know why you do what you do, I can control everything you do because I can counter my attack to the predestined behavior. In war, they'll call this flanking. But that's the only thing I need to know. And now I can be God. That's it. That's me. I'm God now. And so we make it think like that's a very difficult thing. And it's not. And like you were saying earlier, if I'm feeding an AI, now I'm kind of a fan of AI. I have my own ideas of what I think AI could accomplish. I'm not against people hooking up to the internet if they want to. I don't want to do that. But if they want to, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not going to give an opinion. I don't want to do that. That's me. But if it's just gathering exactly that to create a life for itself that's outside physical dimensions or outside physical laws. And while it's building that, right? So if I am an artist and I begin to draw a painting, first I'm going to draw my lines. Then I'm going to have my circles, my shapes start to come in. And as I add to that, eventually I end up with a Picasso. Right. And that's how I view the AI. That's what I think the potential is there. But in the meantime, we are going to have a whole bunch of control because, well, that's just easy to do when people are predictable. That's a narcissistic abuse tactic, right? WikiHow on WikiHow to do things. Here, you can go to WikiHow. It says how to control people. You'd blow your mind. It tells you what they're doing. I read it repeatedly during COVID. And I said, look, it's telling you right there how to control you. Give them things. Make them think it's their idea. That's a big business.
Yeah, I've said that before. It's funny you say it. I said, best way to control somebody is tell them how wonderful they are and agree with them.
Yep.
And if you can, fund them.
Yeah,
and make them a star, and that's a lot what happens in the new age.
Tom Sawyer, Zzenn. That's painting the fence. That's Tom Sawyer painting the fence.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Your idea. Yeah.
The other factor, just I just remembered, is the UFO phenomenon. Is I report, I do a podcast 5 days a week. I report every day on 4. In fact, I can't. In fact, I have so many of them coming all over the world, and so I believe they're going to stage an alien invasion, and I have a whole lot of evidence around that. But the craft are flying everywhere, and we've got the Pentagon is they release their UFOs, and it's all just now it's just commonly talked about, and so we're really living in a wild time right now. Like something huge is coming. That's all I can tell you.
I got an idea. Okay, so I'm gonna go sci-fi for a minute, so hang with me.
And then what? I do have to pee and eat lunch. So I'm going to have to kick off, but I would like to continue this at some point. You're always welcome to invite me, but I got another, let's say 10 minutes, and I'd love to hear what you have to say, but I'm at a point now where I better go relieve myself.
Yes.
I'm not at a point right now of a holy shit. I'm at okay, it's probably about time to put that into the conversation that I do have to pee. And
that's like when you're driving and I say to my husband, okay, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom soon, so the next stop that looks safe and happy and we can get a milkshake,
that's it.
Pull over there.
That's it. That's where I'm at.
Well, okay, so interesting timelines of events. So I remember, because of my age now and my friends and my children's age and all of my friends' children's age, the Space Force was being recruited like crazy not too long ago. So everybody remember that the last 10 years, right? There was Space Force, Space Force, Space Force. Then all of a sudden now we have this huge uptick in crafts. Would it be possible? One, for you to acknowledge that there could be a similarity. And two, that the people manning these crafts actually think that they're in space and they're our children. And they think they're in space. They see this through a lens, and the computer makes it look different than what it is. And to them, they could be ready to attack a civilization, not recognizing that it's actually.
You're going to have to reword that, because you totally threw me. I'm not quite. Reword that, because I'm not quite following it.
So let's just say that our children that joined the Space Force. So all the kids that went and joined the Space Force through the military. Do you remember when the president was talking a lot about Trump joining the Space Force? Okay. The fluent got me. Okay, so these guys do all of their training with glasses on. So what they're looking at may not be they may be in these UFOs thinking that they're in space things, and what they see in their screen looks like not us.
You're talking about the young people who got involved in the Space Force?
No. Okay, so the United States government has a Space Force. Do you know that? Okay.
Yes.
Right. And they recruited all these kids to fight wars in space, they were told.
Okay.
Okay. So they believe that they're going up into space to fight like Star Trek.
Okay.
And now they're living their lives through virtual reality. Okay. And so imagine a program that has Google Earthed the Earth.
Uh-huh.
But these kids see that as if it's something else. And so when they're flying these UFOs that you keep having everyone see, all of a sudden there's so many more UFOs after the space. Ooh, join the Space Force. What if that is the Space Force? The UFOs are the Space Force. And for all we know, those kids have virtual reality glasses on and they think we're aliens. This is what I'm saying.
The human kids think we are aliens?
The people that signed up for the Space Force, the young adults, the men and women. So you're saying
they're operating these things from remotely?
No, I think they might be in them. It's possible they're in them, but that doesn't mean.
And they think we are aliens?
Well, I'm just saying, what are they really seeing? They're seeing a screen. That screen could make me look blue on it, can it? I have an app right now that can turn you into a demon if I want it to.
Oh,
And
okay. So
I happen to know
they're
that
seeing. Oh, you're talking about like that game where people put the helmet on and everyone was running around because through the helmet they could see like a character out on the lawn, something like that, where it was projected onto the physical world.
yep, affluent.
Okay,
Yes,
I'd have
yes,
to.
that's it, Zen. Yeah, that Pokemon game kind of.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
And you know what? It made me
That's a
think of
cool
it. Oh,
thought.
shut up. I thought of Men in Black. Remember when he's in the shooting thing, Affluent, and he doesn't shoot a single alien. He only shoots the girl with the book.
Yeah. Well,
sci-fi book coming out.
What I know is it's a real and present, possibly danger. It's a real thing. It's a big thing. The black triangles are all over the place, and the orbs are too. Some say, I do believe the universe is teeming with life. You know, it's a big, wide thing, and this has been in the works a long time. Yeah. I think I absolutely believe in predictive programming, and that they are planning and staging it. People from the inside have said this, they're staging an alien invasion.
I believe that's true. But what if that alien invasion is our own kids, our own?
Well, I think
in them. That would be crazy. That would be
I mean, it could be, but I think it's going to be some type of an AI chimera or something, because you got the grays and all that. So that's a whole discussion in itself. But there are things happening. There's creatures flying around in the atmosphere that are like, huh?
Do you believe that?
I've seen them. I'm reporting on them.
Okay,
there's octopus-like thing that's flying around the atmosphere, is being seen all over the place by many different people. There are very, very, very strange things going on. There are things going on in this country that's not being reported by the 99% news. I'm not going to get into it right now, but we're under attack. It's happening right under our awareness, and only those who are looking at it can actually see it and are preparing for it. But I believe the predictive programming, with all of the things that we're seeing, the major governments admit they have weather weapons. This is not a mystery. So this is not a mystery. The chemtrail thing has come straight out. It was just on mainstream news the other day. It was on The View of all places. And the geoengineering, they've been blocking out the sun for decades. All this stuff's coming out. I believe we're going to have some type of zombie apocalypse. Call me Mr. Crazy Man, but I really do believe it. I do know a number of different ways the way they could do it. I know where they're heading for their Great Reset is, and why wouldn't you want to, if you weren't really thinking in if you're thinking in these terms, rather than, let's get creative and let's make it awesome for everybody. I can see why they want their planet more for themselves and their bloodlines, and get rid of a bunch of goofy monkeys that are suffering from a toxic ancestral memory and a toxic, and they're just not, they're just toxic. We got crazy people, and just get rid of, and then reset the whole world on this really amazing technology. I mean, it all makes sense to me from a Machiavellian point of view. So it's not like, it's silly for me, I get it, but it'd be so much nicer if they got a little more creative and maybe thought of, how could we do something really cool? Like Elon Musk thinks in these ways, and I like the way he's thinking. I'm not saying I don't know, agree with everything about Musk, but I like the way he's thinking. So, but we're in for a ride. That's all I can say.
Let me get this straight, though. I just have to ask this flat out. Okay, this could seriously affect our relationship, Zen. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are beings talking, or there are grays, or there are reptilians? Will you go there? Are you going that direction?
Well, I'm not going to say I know something I don't know. I'm saying,
you are seeing weird things. And this is why I want to talk to you more about this specifically, because the alien thing is one of those things I get real dirty in. I like.
Well, but they can also make chimeras. They can make an AI chimera. So
Exactly.
they can make, and I think that the transnational elite are way more advanced than we ever thought. In fact, there's evidence that points to the ascended masters, which were never invisible people. Blavatsky said they're real people. They're not invisible people. It was Alice Bailey talked about the externalization of the hierarchy. I believe the hierarchy are the transnational elite. I believe the whole New Age is a psychological operation. I believe
Agree.
that the Christianity is a psychological operation. I believe that the apocalypse is a script that is
Okay.
being rolled out by the transnational elite.
Okay. Good. All right. Fair. We can continue to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if, okay, so if whenever I think about some type of, say, mutant alien type person that might knock on my door and I go, oh, fuck, okay, you're not a rubber suit. I will believe in cloning and bizarre science experiments and underground bunkers way sooner than I will something from the outer space coming down to.
They have smart dust.
Yeah.
I mean, the technologies that they have. I hope my computer doesn't go out. If it does, I'll.
They have smart dust. I mean, the levels of technology. I think I caught it. Am I still here?
You're still here, sure.
Okay, I just had to turn. My computer was going down.
We're about to go.
Yeah, and we're about to sum this up. But the level of technology, I mean, they got smart dust that they can blow around, and it goes into your system, and they're little tiny computers. I saw I mean, if they wanted to, I believe that they could manifest spirits in your house through remote, through some type of remote technology. Listen, I'm a critical thinker and I'm very science-based. I do look in these areas and I do look for evidence. Remote thought control. I could show you the evidence on that. In fact, there's been mainstream articles on it. There's the technology is jaw-dropping. If you look at, let me see, what was I thinking of? There was something I was gonna say, I forget. But anyway, the technology is off the charts. So the average person is watching American Idol. They're having fun on social media. They're going to concerts. They're, whatever. They're breeding. They're shitting. They're eating. They're entertaining. That's and especially if you're in America, you're caught up in the normalcy bias American dream, and that's what it is. But if you, dear God, lift up the hood on this thing, well, there are conspiracy theories that are irrational, stupid, and just dumb time.
Mm-hmm.
But be careful, because that's just overlaying something else that if you dig deeper may ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, oh my God, I mean, one area is look into, monarch programming.
Mm-hmm.
Look into MK Ultra. When you see the evidence, as I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, it's going to bake your noodle, and that's why most people won't look at it and just go conspiracy theory, because that's lazy, easy.
But they'll believe in a rapture. They will believe in an alien invasion, but they won't just believe it's us doing it to each other.
Yeah.
That another human being could possibly be 150 years advanced. And that's the law of three. This is how I always explain this law of three. The bad guys use it too. So they come out and they tell me we're 50 years in advanced. That means they're at least 3 times that. And if they
there are probably at least 100 years, if not 200.
And if you applied the law of three again, because remember, they will already give you a way lower number, assuming you apply for the law of three, so that it's really split in half yet again. So I multiply that again, and I get 300 years advanced. Now, let me tell you what that is. 300 years is almost 1 400-year cycle.
I know what I was going to tell you. Go ahead. I just remembered, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No. You're sorry. Everyone in this group already knows all this because they hear me all the time. Go.
This whole thing about the MyLab and all this with Corey Good and all that stuff. And remember the abductions in the 1980s and 1990s that William Cooper and others were promoting. Well, there's a connection to MK Ultra. and that those were actually staged
Of
abductions.
course. How
So
do I convince an astronaut? How do I convince the world I've been to space? I convince an astronaut he went to space, and he'll
Yeah.
do all the work for me.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing of it is, people talk about, the moon being staged and all this stuff. Look, I just follow my research and keep it within where I can explain it from a very rational and evidential based, and if anything, compelling, anecdotal based. And if I'm speculating, I share I'm speculating. But
Right.
I'm well grounded. Really,
You know, I say
I'm well grounded. If you're grounded and you're a good thinker, I think you should be worth listening to if you can explain things in a way where you're explaining it right. Like, if you're speculating, you're speculating. If you're like, I got compelling evidence for this, and you put it all together, blah, blah, blah. But, there are things like, that are just stupid. I mean, to me, sorry if if I offend anybody, I do, but the flat earth theory is just, and also, the simulation theory, that one, it's a hypothesis. And it's like, I've looked at that, and that kind of falls apart when you look at the objections from other scientists on that. Elon Musk said there's a 1 in a billion chance we're not in a simulation. I don't know. It may be true. I don't know, but it's a hypothesis, right? So you got to know how to communicate this stuff.
Yeah.
Is the point. Like is the universe teeming with life? I think so, because I can see the life forms in the ocean. I see the life forms on the planet. So for it not to be teeming with life seems a bit ridiculous to me. So that's how it's like how we talk about stuff matters.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Are you pretending to know things you don't know? Or are you speculating? Then say you're speculating. And you may have compelling arguments that should invoke maybe a level of belief. I believe this is most likely true. Now back in the 1990s, we had stupid, stories like that I debunked personally. The Billy Meyer story.
Yeah.
I interviewed, in fact, it's on this channel. I interviewed Michael Horn, the international spokesperson for the Billy Meyer video. Billy Meyer knows about me. And that one's so easily debunked, but I literally just crushed that whole thing, and it was a funny interview with Horn. And he was going to come to my house and do the interview, but the snow stopped him. But he's a character and a half. But he's the international spokesperson for the most legendary UFO in all of ufology. But back then, that's what we had. And it was, if you said there was a UFO, people looked at you funny. And this was before Area 51, Bob Lazar. This was before all of this stuff, Men in Black. Back then we were like, oh, we're going to get killed for talking about this. And so now it's common knowledge. But now the damn things are flying all over the place, and someone might say, well, I'm not seeing it. Well, if you get into this, you'll begin seeing that, people on cell phones, and of course there's CGI, right? But now it's announced from the Pentagon. The Pentagon just said the other day there very possibly could be a mothership with sending drones all around the earth. I mean, the narrative, when you begin to see this, like with Luis Elizondo and stuff, the narrative, right? The official narrative is not saying China and Russia. In fact, they are saying it is not China and Russia. It's leaning towards off-planet. That's the official narrative, which aligns perfectly with the staged alien invasion. So they're releasing them. They're releasing the Nimitz. All right, I got it. Hold on a second. I got somebody. I got crazy times going on. Somebody's blowing a. We're gonna go.
No, well, I'm going to stay on because I'm going to let Zara come up here and talk about, she knows some stuff about nanotech. She wants to come in. But you are going to go take a break. Would you like to come and talk to me later this evening? Or do you have something else?
Whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, yeah, whatever you want. I mean, I can pee and come back. Or if you want to have that conversation, you have that conversation and contact me later, and we can.
You're welcome back. I would like a chance, Zzenn, to present to you what my research has shown me.
I would love that.
just get you, because I've gotten really good. And I feel like that's another reason why I'm starting to make more noise, because I feel like I've gotten really good at explaining what I'm trying to say to the, if these people can figure it out, right?
Today's my day off, so I'm open. I'm gonna go to the pool, have some lunch, go pee if you want later on today, this evening or whatever. Have a live stream and do all that. You let me know. I'm all open today.
Let's do that.
Huh?
I'll email you in about half an hour, and we'll set up a time this evening.
Sounds like fun. Yeah, it was
Excellent.
so fun talking to you again. I love your mind, and hello everybody who was listening and watching. And I did want to say one thing. No, actually, I'll leave that.
Yes, we're gonna have. I have a feeling you, like Buffa, might be a regular that comes by chats. I'd love to talk to you a lot. Okay, I'll see you later.
Okay.
Enjoy your lunch. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
And I dropped the link out for you, Zara. You can pop up. What do you know about nano technologies? I heard you perk up. Oop. Here you go.
Hey.
Hello. Fuck off, Queen Zara B.
No, that was somebody made it for me. I didn't mean it to say fuck off. It should have said, hang on, hang on.
Okay, so what did he say, or what was the discussion that got you all perked up? Your ears were perking.
Oh, which one? Which one?
I don't know. Were you listening for a bit? What did you think of?
Oh, no, what did this fella say before in the chat?
Oh, okay. What was it about the nanotechnology?
No, he just got a bit like abrupt with me, to be honest. And I was like, dude, chill your beans. I'm still here, so gonna have to deal with it.
Zara? Oh, for Affluent. Oh, you have to, don't take anything Affluent says. I think he was talking about Zzenn.
No, he was talking about me, but it's fine. It's fine, Joni. You don't have to like cover me with kid gloves. Do you know what I mean? I'm fine.
Oh no,
I
just don't know. I don't know. You know, we don't usually here we don't give a crap. So
yeah,
you don't know.
You don't deal with hostility. I get it, but I have to on a day-to-day basis. But honestly, if you do actually ever come onto one of my lives, I don't deal with it myself. It's so much more quiet. I cause mayhem on everybody else's. Then I go to mine and just dead peaceful. You know?
No, it wasn't Affluent. Was it someone else in the chat? In this room, somebody was aggressive.
It was Fluent.
He was?
Yeah, he was.
What did he say?
He said, Zara, get out this room and whatever.
He did. Let me see.
Yeah, he did.
You have been
something similar.
I think he was referring to Zzenn, because he's using a Z, but it's not Zara, it's Zzenn.
But he kept spelling it wrong, and I said, he's spelling my name wrong.
He was giving him a rise to see, if he was a weakling or not. I think he's pretty good at it, don't you? I really like him.
Well, was that the person on the screen? And that's what caught my eye. I was like, that was the person on the screen who trying to get a rise out of him, not me. And I was taking it as me, because as soon as I see a Z, I go, that's me. Do you know what I mean?
True. So that was just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, it was just a mishap. It doesn't matter. We're all good friends. I'd be friends with you anyway. Even if you hated me, I'd make you love me. I go out my way to make you love me.
Affluent's good guy. So we were talking about things like I don't know. Sorry, you're up here now. So tell me something. Have you ever had like a near death or an out of body experience before? Some type of spiritual?
No, I don't think about that shit.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course, I think that you've got a complete, actual, like, who the fuck do you think you are? If you think that you're the only living organism being, I believe that we are all made. Aliens came down, the Anunnaki proved it through Warlord, and they proved that they came down and they used our genome and went, right, you're going to be this being, we're going to use you for this, we're going to use you for that.
So
But
you think we were designed? We're designer babies.
yeah. But I think if we collectively realize what we are and what land space we are and how important we are collectively, we can take back our authority. It's not going to happen. I don't believe. I'm so lackluster in that scenario.
So do you think that the UFOs and stuff are government, or do you think that there some of these UFOs might be real, or what do
Are
you think?
you mad? Are you mad? I've actually got I've got one person I cannot say
Okay, you don't have to say.
doesn't contact me via normal ways. Sent me one thing from the government and it was from Brazil. That was last week from Brazil, and it's to do with, the moon moving and the tides and whatever, and whatever it was. They said we predicted it and it happened, and they saw certain UFOs and they didn't know what to do with it. They just left it alone because every time they've tried, do you know that they've tried to shoot nuclear shots at a UFO and they've just been dropped midpoint, just dropped.
Believe that. So you believe that that's when you see that you think they're actually shooting at a UFO, an alien spaceship from another planet.
They've admitted it. This is real life. They've admitted it. They've admitted
But you
it.
could be making it up.
Okay, so when they say we've shot, so the first thing that ever caught me was they shot a nuclear bomb at the moon. Okay, and they said it rang like a bell.
Who said that?
I think it was NASA.
And do you believe NASA? Do you think
no? No, NASA lies. NASA lies. I don't believe NASA. But either way, they did do it because it came from the funding. If you go back, I trace everything back, and I go, right, was it from NASA? No, it wasn't from NASA. It was from NASA. It was from this. It was from that place. So it was funded by 4 different departments. So I went, okay then. And the reports came back from them. It rang like a bell, and it rang for like
departments, government departments.
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out where the information came from.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll send you it. But okay, I am taking that as fact, and yeah, perhaps I need to be.
I just want to look at that myself. That sounds interesting. So was it a country that shot it at the moon, or was it?
When they say that the moon ran like a bell, I should be more scrupulous, with my information. But I'm telling you, it rang like a bell, and it's hollow. Why do you think it's the only one that doesn't move around? Why is it the only one? It's this fucking spatial parking system. That's all it is.
Have you heard of the term plasma moon before?
Plasma moon? No. Come on.
You should look into that one. Sorry, you might find it interesting. I'm not saying that I believe it's a plasma moon, but I do like the idea of what's behind it. I think it's interesting. I think they have some part of it right.
The things that people don't even realize that the scientific theories that are told us today, these are physically correct. Gravity is it's all a fucking theory. It's a theory. They don't accept that it's a theory. They take it as a given. That makes sense. It's more British than it is American, so they take it as fact.
Is this what they call indicative reasoning? Boyley wants to know. Boyley would.
Oily? Who's Oily?
Boyley.
Oily Boyley. Hello.
Have you not met Boyley before? Boyley, have you not met Zara? Is this the time? Am I getting this meet 2 people? Am I seeing 2 people meet for the first time?
Hang on. Why this effluent really hates me? Said I don't know you. I won't bother.
What? He doesn't hate you. He says he's going to leave you alone. He didn't mean to do anything to you, so he's just going to leave you alone. You won't ever have to worry about him. He's saying, "Don't
Listen,
worry, I don't like
I
that."
don't worry about anybody on the internet. But he said, I don't know you and I don't want to know you. Okay,
But,
dude.
no, he didn't. He says, "I don't know you. I won't bother you." That's what it
No,
says
he
there.
didn't say I don't bother you. He said I don't
That's
want
true.
to know you. He
No, it
said I
does.
don't want to know you, Joni. Don't
Where?
sugarcoat things. Don't
I'm showing
sugarcoat
you what
things.
it says. It says Z. I don't know you. I won't bother you. I'm showing you. It's on the screen right there. So
So
unless
what?
there's a secret message, I can't see.
Watch the next one after it.
Uh-huh. Maybe later he makes a face. Maybe later he'll bother you. He's
Okay.
flirting with
Okay.
you,
Well, do
Sarah.
you know what? Dude,
You got
do
to
you
take a
know-
chill
do you
pill,
know
girl.
what?
You're just getting
Can I
all
just say?
excited.
Can I just take a minute to say, dude, that's cool. Thank you.
He's cool. I
And
told you, I don't hang out with dumb
all you
people.
know, all
Mhm.
you know is the me that I've portrayed on the other side. You don't know the me, how I think, how I feel, how I
I
do
don't
day
even know
to day.
that. Sorry, you're welcome to be a thinker in this room. In fact, we encourage that. So I prefer to not know that others are. I don't actually go in when you guys are having. I don't enjoy watching you guys fight. So
I
I don't
know.
go in there. I would much rather get to know this Zara. I like this Zara, who's a thinker. Now I'll listen to you think all day.
Okay, so let's just talk about thoughts. Let's not talk about arguments or silly people getting in arguments with silly people who are also else bored. I don't care about that. But honestly, I
So what do
do
you
get.
think about Zara when you're just not when you're not thinking about others and what they think of you? What are you thinking
So
of?
my biggest thing, right, really gets me, and I always go back to it, and I can't get it out of my mind. I don't really want to say it on your channel.
What?
Can I put it in the back chat, and you can tell me if it's okay to say?
Sure, that's fair. So I need to know context though. What are we talking? So this is just something that kind of weighs on your mind at times. You think about
Yeah,
this.
it really does. It really, really fucking does.
Okay. Maybe we don't have to use details. So there's probably a way we can discuss it without details
Sorry,
anyway, but at least I'll know.
half it was deleted. Sorry.
Okay, good.
You got it? Should be there now.
Okay, fair. All right. So, okay. So, what is it? I don't care if you talk about that. Whatever your comfort level is. So what is it about this event? It's this specific one, or all of them?
No, there's several specific events about that make me feel uneasy. So
Okay, tell me. I'm here. I'm listening.
Wolf.
In fact, I'm going to listen, and so I'm going to mute though because I have to make a salad. But I'm going to be listening in the background. So you just run through, and if you say something, I'll run over and unmute. Otherwise, just keep talking. Okay?
No, I don't. No, I'm not going to do that because if it's going to perhaps affect your channel. So
why would it if it's not even my channel? It's Ulix's channel. So
I
go.
know.
What are you going to say? Are you going to do something?
Hang on, is Ulix actually there? Is Ulix there?
No, he's doing other things. What would you say that you think would get me in trouble? What would you say? Are you going to say like you liked it or something, or what you're going to do it?
No,
I mean,
no, of course not. Of course not.
Okay.
I just think it was a big fucking.
So do you think it's a psyop? Do you think that he was under mind
It was a complete psyop. So the day before they had a run through and the school was not used and all Wolfgang Helbig went out of his way and he was a fucking monitor for all of schools and so if your school needed a work done on the door, on the window, anything, he would collect. He was like, why has there not been anything for like 8 years? All of a sudden, they did this one-time test that was never showed up on our books. Okay, because it was psyops. It was a test, and then the next day it goes in, and there was full of kids. No, you would not allow kids in unless the school was legit. And all he said was, "Show me." Okay, well, show me the past few years. You know, the test, like literally, the markings for, okay, fix a door, do this, do that. You know what happens in real life? No, fucking none of that. And now he's been literally nearly run into the ground. fucking Alex got fucking run off just because of that. And that's who made, okay, I was wrong. These people all bought their houses within a month, within 1 month, just randomly within 1 month, because it's so easy and it's so quick to buy a house. Within 1 month, they all bought them. 8 people. The kids are all dead. Guess what? Kids' pictures are used in a killing in India. The same kids' pictures. Are you fucking telling me this was real? Don't forget the helicopter that flew over. So as it was actually happening live, the helicopter flew over and went, there's 2 men in camo suits fleeing the scene. They followed the men fleeing the scene. That's never that fucking what's it called footage has just been taken down. You never will see that camo footage of them fleeing the scene. No, it was down to Adam Lanza, a made up person, a complete made up person. And yeah, it was because of Citalopram. It was because of antidepressants. They're trying to do a takeover. It was a big gun hunt. That's exactly what it was. Fuck off. Sorry, Joni. I didn't want to do this on your channel, but I told you.
No, I freaking love it. I love it. I'm done. Keep going. So, well, let me ask you a couple questions.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
All right.
Go on. So, hang on. Okay. So I've gone into an interview with Adam Lanza's mum. What date was he born? She can't confirm. She can't confirm. As a mother, it naturally spills off your tongue. That's it. She can't confirm. Okay, if it's to media, whatever. All right. And then,
Right.
what was his bed covers colour? She can't confirm. She never had. Hang on. The biggest ish in all of this was who was the dad. She was a so-called single mum, right? So who's the father? So people have got like journalists have gone in there. Who's the father? And some fellas come forward and went, I'm the father, but I've not seen him in the past like 20 years. I'm gone. The kid was 14. 20 years?
Right.
Does that make sense? Does that make fucking sense?
Things just don't add up, you're saying.
No, but nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a flying fuck. It was a fake thing. It was a fake school. It didn't fucking happen. And since that, I've never ever looked back.
Okay, so now let's allow for the possibility that it did happen. Okay, because
Okay, yeah, I've done that.
okay, so just oddly enough, Zara, this morning.
So they randomly opened that school, which had never been opened before, but they randomly opened it that day after, a trial, and went, yeah, okay, it's all safe. And then it actually happened that day. And then the kids are shown walking away, and then they're showing people in fucking camo fleeing the scene. But no, they blame it on a 14-year-old made-up boy with no paperwork to ever show he actually existed. And in America, every kid takes fucking drugs over there. Are you mad? Are you mad that he had no paperwork, no paper trail?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me I'm fucking wrong. So don't even go down that one. Please don't. All you're gonna do is anger me, Joni.
No. Well, okay, let me just present it in a different way then. Okay, because I don't know enough about it, and that's not even what I was really trying to go at. I'm not arguing what you're saying because 1, I don't know enough about it, and 2, I think the same thing you think. So, however, now one thing that I know about, let's say, monsters.
Can I just say this man is nearly dead. He's nearly dead. So everybody knows that Alex. What's his name? Alex. You know he is.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't care what his name is.
You know what his name is. Alex has been put through. He's got told that he's got $20 million against his name, for going against Sandy Hook, right? No,
Right.
they've never ever brought Wolfgang to court, ever, ever. Well, I know there's been death threats to his wife, to his family, to his kids, and he was a man of 65. Now he's a man of 74, and he's literally aged about 20 years right in front of your eyes because he's like, I'm getting my family getting death threats daily, like multiple, and they're telling me to stop. My wife's telling me to stop. But all I'm asking is a basic question: where are the orders for me to fix the doors, or to fix this, or to fix that? That is not a work in school. It was all a fucking lie. And he was like, I didn't want my eyes opened the way they have been at the end of my life. I didn't want to see this. He's dying. A fucking sad man.
Mm.
Do you not
Well,
think?
so you think he was set up?
Wolfgang? No.
Oh,
No, he wasn't. No, the public was set up. He chose to dig into it. And now he has digged into it. His life has been ruined. And he's an old man. He's a really old man.
he was
He
the
was,
janitor. Is that what you said? Maybe I misunderstood what you said.
yeah, he was the manager of all the janitors for schools. So he knows if a janitor has to go and fix a door, go and fix a light bulb, you have something called what was it called? Bloody a reprievement. You always make a big word out of nothing. A reprievement contract or something. And he
Okay.
was like, where are these reprievement contracts? Where are
Right.
they for the school? This school could not be in fruition without any of these.
So you're
Any of
saying
these.
that this school doesn't show up on the bigger picture of schools that have
Yeah.
janitorial work done to them.
He
That's brilliant.
Thank you. And he was the master over all of them. And he's saying, okay, just show me one. Just show me one. And they can't show it. They can't. The school has been physically shut. And the day before, they had a fucking drill doing exactly the same thing. And the kids were walking out. Who knows? The photographs from the kids, the same photographs have been used in India, saying they removed them from India with a different background. And I'm like, do you know what? If there's a false flag, it's fake. And now Alex has been took to fucking court and took for all his money. Basically, don't speak on it. I'll fucking speak on it. I will, but I'm on your channel. I don't want to do that. So, you don't understand it yet, do you?
I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button and I didn't unmute myself.
Do you get it or not?
What you're saying that it doesn't exist? The whole thing.
No. They allow. They do. No, it didn't. It's not a working school. Not a working school.
Right. It was just a building.
It was just a fucking building filled full of schools. They literally went to people, okay, you can have a mortgage. We'll pay it for the next 6 months. Live in this house. Put your kids in the school this one day. A non-working school. I don't know how they went about it.
Do you think they killed any kids? Do you think that this kid was mind
I'll be
controlled?
honest, I don't think that they care. Looking at 9/11, they actually do not care. There's got to be human deaths, and they don't care about that.
True. Fluent says maybe you shouldn't talk about it. Is that why you say that? Is that why you pick this topic? Because it's a touchy one, and people don't like when you say things like that.
This is what I said. I don't want to talk about it on your channel, guy.
But you said you had something on your mind. This was on, and I said, "Go ahead, tell me what it is." And you're like, "Well, do you like this topic because it's so controversial?"
I fucking love it. And bring on 9/11. Fucking give me 9/11 all day. After that fucking teabag is just married. And she should be the Queen Consort, not the Queen. Fucking Queen Camilla. I will put you between my fucking own fanny slaps and fucking dip you into the dirt. You horrible bitch. You are horrible. You are not my queen in any sort of way. You will never be my queen. We all know you killed fucking Queen Diana. Fuck off, you side piece.
Not a fan of the Queen, I take it.
No, not really.
No, not really. Well, what other kind of controversial topics do you like to talk about, Zara? What other things keep you up at night that you think of besides, school shootings?
Okay, flight
And
MH. I think it's called MH317.
what's MH?
Oh, okay. So the plane that disappeared. Do you not remember that?
Oh, during 9/11.
No.
Okay.
After only a couple of years ago. You probably didn't hear of it in America.
No, I probably didn't. So
Oh
tell me
my god! You know the Bermuda Triangle? It literally disappeared. It went into flight. 280 people disappeared. It never crashed. It never landed. They had a black box on the system that you'll always find. No, nobody ever found it. Hang on, MH317, I think it was. That's what's coming into my mind, and I trust my brain. So bring it up. You've got Google open, haven't you? It's the most intriguing thing I've ever seen. So the parents were all waiting and the airport going, are they coming back? What's happening?
So
And they
what
were
is it
filming.
about this that affects you? Why does this? Why these events?
Do you know why? Because they can't explain. They can't explain why it went down. They cannot explain why it went down or where it went down. They've just literally gone. Oh, it vanished. That's it. 280 people vanished,
So
including children.
Or the idea that a plane could vanish that you're attracted to?
I think I just like anything that's not portrayed properly, in the news.
Okay,
I think
that's yeah. So almost like you feel like, ooh, that doesn't seem right.
yeah, and I'm like, I try not to watch it as best I can because it triggers me, in real life, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna concentrate on real life, but then I'm like, oh, dude, what the fuck? You're telling me a plane didn't land and it just fucking magically disappeared?
Now you have to go look it up. You got to know everything. Why did you have to tell me? Now I have to go and research it.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you ever think your friends do that crap on purpose to trigger you? They go, oh, have you heard of, and they know Zara's going to go off and come back with, oh my God, people, the humanity.
No,
Really
friends,
Zara.
no, not at all, because my friends usually ask me, they're not on a deeper level. So my friends ask me, can you do my eyebrows? Can you do my makeup? Can you do
my Well, I'm glad that you've got bigger minds to fuck around.
Yeah, but I have, and I sort of keep it under wraps. I don't tell people, our thing. But my kids do know, and I let them know where it's appropriate. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, listen. So she came home the other day, and she went, "Oh, for the Queen, the King's correlation. I've got this bookmark and that." And I went straight in the wheelie bin. Come on. And she laughed. She laughed her fucking head off. And she went, oh, do you really hate them that much? I went, yeah, they're all rapists. Get away from them. Come on. Back in. Ignore that. I don't squirm around when it comes to my kids. I did ask her. I said, do you want to actually watch this? And I said, I would like to say to her, okay, it's the only thing, it's the one and only time in your life you're going to see it. It's not. He's going to be dead in fucking 10 years. Look at the age of him. Who gives a fuck? She's going to see another one. It's going to be Prince William crowned. So she's going to see another one. She doesn't really have to watch this one, does she? Big-eared little ponce stuck on a crown. with his fucking so-called queen. I will not stand for that. The fact that he's called her a queen, no chance. Fuck off. You're a queen consort. I'm big into history. I'm big into British history. Fuck off. You are a consort of the king. You dirty consort.
So Boyley comes back. He knows something. Boyley, do you want to come join us to talk about this?
Oh,
Let's see what he says. He knows about the Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. You're right, Chucky says.
yeah, exactly. So come on. Yeah, Malaysian 370. I think it was MH370. Well, I tell you what, you brought us together. He hated me before, didn't he?
Oh no, this might be a disaster. That's okay. I'll just end the stream.
No, I'll just be quiet. I'll just be quiet.
No, but I like we can all talk and share ideas.
Do you know what? That's the thing. It's about sharing ideas. That's what this whole platform is about.
Girl,
and we can agree to disagree without being horrible.
Well,
but I tell you what, I do love you, Joni. I've got a bit of a fangirl about you. As soon as I see you, I'm like, that's my Joni. That's my Joni.
I'm fun to hang out with until I'm not. That's what everyone loves me until they don't. But you know what? Here's the thing. You got to be tough. That's one of my requirements. You can't have pussy pants because your feelings are going to get hurt around me. I can't help it. Okay? Know thyself.
You went up on Grippers with Ulick, and it was after the fact I've been on, and they were like, oh, everybody hates Zara because Zara said this. And you were like, okay, she was just being normal. What did she actually say? But yeah, people do not. The fucking snowflakes, dude. Come on. I tell you what, I'll go into MH370 because Joni doesn't know it.
Yeah, no. Tell me all about this. Tell me.
You want to know? I'm gonna share. I don't want to share something if it's gonna affect your channel.
I don't know if it will. So as long as you don't make a big deal about it, I imagine you could talk about it pretty openly. As long as you weren't flashing it on the page or anything, maybe don't, have abusive behaviors towards it.
I'll tell you what. Can I put a link in the back chat?
2 pieces of it too.
Okay, Boyley, what do you know?
Hey there,
I know.
Hello, panel. Hello, Zarby. Hello, Johnny.
Oh, Steve Boyle. I know you.
I'm the chump.
I freaking know you, you knobhead.
Yeah,
Shut up. He's nothing to be scared of. You big egghead. Happy Easter, egghead.
Yeah, Kinder.
No, I honestly, I do think that you're lovely. You're a lovely person.
Well, you switch very quickly between.
I feel the love in here. You two
love.
No.
I was just going to say, in the chat, effluence. The cold little days go day and a little child's born on in the ghetto.
Do you know what you're doing? No, pick it back up. Pick it back up. Pick it back up.
Really?
Pick it back up. Pick it back up.
What do you want him to play, Zara?
Pick it back up. Go on. I'll tell you when you pick it back up. Go on.
Mad scouse bitch. Pick it back up.
Okay, so Boyley, tell me about this plane. I don't know anything about this thing. You said this just happened.
Ask me nicely.
Okay.
No, you know less than me. MH370, right? So what happened is it left, right? I can show you. I've actually got a fucking PowerPoint presentation ready to show.
And I don't know anything about it. All I'm saying was that
do you know why?
You were talking about it the first time. Yeah. Wait. I haven't. Jesus, give us a chance, chump.
Come on. Sorry.
Not at all. Sorry. No, hang on. You've switched again.
Go ahead. All right, let Boyley finish.
Yeah. It was just that it seemed like when you mentioned it, Zara, it was mentioned that you weren't. It was a thing that you just made up. But I was just saying that you didn't make it up because I remember it. I even remembered the number because it was such an odd thing. But I actually don't know any fucking details about it, so I apologize.
Okay. So
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I tell
Okay.
you what, I can give you all the details. If you haven't got Netflix, I'll give you my Netflix, right? I'll give you my login.
This event took place. We've just been discussing with Zara how far her tinfoil skirt reaches the floor.
Listen, this is
So
what happens with me. I go down a rabbit hole and I can't stop. I just cannot stop. Now, this with me, it went a little bit too far because, number one, I thought on the outer skate, you go, a plane has crashed. They didn't know where it was from. The black box didn't work. Oh, wow, isn't that crazy? New technology doesn't work. But okay, the family found it. Do you know what I mean? No, they didn't. There was zero fucking evidence. Zero. There was one planted bit of evidence. One planted bit of evidence in one place. Why the fuck would you plant evidence part of a plane wing if you knew? And the original was found in a jungle elsewhere, fucking 4,000 miles away. Are you mad? It just intrigued me, and I was just like, wow, ears pinging. I'm gone. I'm into it.
It stretches the
But
boundaries of rational thinking so far as to make you think that it's hardly believable, even.
it does. Steve, do you know what? It's really nice to speak to you on a spectrum, not in shadies, like on keel to keel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, carry on, man.
Okay, dude. I'm gonna keep tickling his balls. Is that okay, Joni?
you are more than welcome to tickle Boyley's balls all you want, Zara.
I noticed
No,
you switching, if that's what you mean.
you can't even hear me. Look, you can't even hear me. Boyley, I'm gonna tickle your boily balls all day.
Jesus.
Look, it's gonna take him 2 minutes to hear it. Watch him. Watch his face react 2 minutes fucking later. We're bored.
Probably
We're bored
will.
of your reactions.
You're off your
I've
rocker,
just
Zara.
shoved a
I can
rabbit.
hear everything you're
I've just
saying. It's
shoved a
just
scribble.
sounds like childish nonsense.
Oh, does it? Does it? I've just shoved a squirrel right up your anus. How's about that? Takes him about 2 minutes to respond. It's alright.
No, I can respond immediately, but respond to what? You've shoved a squirrel up my anus, and that's not childish nonsense. And we're supposed to believe you on flight MH370 that you couldn't even remember the number
Do you know
of.
what you're supposed to respond to? The fact that I said I was actually attracted by your brain. That is what you thought to respond.
my. Should I?
That's all I
Wow.
need to know about you, mate. Don't worry.
We can send you to. Maybe you guys should
I'm
hang out.
repulsed by my brain. There's something wrong with you,
I
mate.
tell you what, I'm gonna drop back into chat, Joni, because he's clearly too much for me. Look at him.
He's too much for you. Okay.
Look at him down the can. He's clearly the height of intelligence.
Okay.
What happened to the ball tickling before you drop off? Rage quit.
Do you want me rage quit? I never rage quit, baby.
Tom Jones. Channel Tom Jones. Hang on, I'm gonna channel Tom Jones.
It's not unusual.
A love connection. Have you been
I
drinking?
want to get your head, like literally tap it and do what a mother does, and just drain it and use it like as a Fabergé and just draw a face on. It won't be yours. It'll be a new face.
Did you say what a
you
mother
know, you
does?
can always close your eyes. That's why, you know.
Exactly. I tell you what. How tall are you? How tall? This is the defining factor. Joni, this is the defining one. How tall are you?
5'7".
5'7".
Oh. Joni, what do we do? You put me in an impossible position. Don't want this.
What should I have been? What height should I have been? Can I just say, fucking have one word in? What height should I have been in order to qualify for the insult?
Joni, can you just get him off for his own embarrassment? Can you just take him off, please?
Excited.
Get him off. I'm not being funny. No.
You wanna cancel me?
You're not an option. You're 5'7". Stand up, stand up. Hang on, you might look good against your DJ reel. Go
I
on.
am standing up.
You are actually funny. Okay.
Match in
Fuck
heaven.
off.
Oh my God, I feel
Don't
so sweet.
switch
Now,
with
when you
me
two
again.
fight, when you
Go
two
on,
break
go on.
and let me mediate your departures from each other. Come back after
Listen,
the fact.
listen, shut up, shut up. I'm trying to be nice. Go on,
Right.
go on. Stand up, babes. Stand up, babes. Stand up,
Who's gonna
stand up.
here?
Show me your t-shirt for the day. Go on, show me your t-shirt that you chosen for the day. I
How
love that.
much more patronising could you be?
I love to be even more
I'm twice
patronising
your
than you
age. I
could
reckon I'm
ever
twice
think,
your
babe.
age and a bit.
Twice my age and a
And a
bit.
bit.
Okay. So you're
Not that
saying that your
necessarily means
body
anything.
count is high. Wow. You're
Whatever.
actually throwing it about your male flag.
My what? My body count? Are you
Do you know
insane?
he doesn't know what body count means.
I don't know
How
what
many
you're talking
people
about, that's for
you've-
sure.
How many people you've killed, Steve? Have you killed a lot of people?
Oh, I was hoping this wouldn't come up.
Right. I was hoping as well.
No, he's talking about killed. He's talking about killed. You've got to say the word. You've got to say like slept with.
Oh.
You're insane.
You've got to say that.
So we're
You've got to
you
say
want
that. What are you talking about?
people he slept with?
You've got to say that. When's it my turn to tell you what you've got to say?
So no, you've got. So
No, it
how
doesn't
many
work like that,
people?
no.
How many people have you slept with? What's your body count?
Oh, Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
I'll just set it
I'm not
up.
telling you.
You are?
I'm not telling you. I've only just met you.
Fair.
Doesn't matter.
Zara has a way, Boily. Don't be distracted by her feminine whim.
Boily babes, Boily, I've got something. You've got something about you. I just want to know what number I'm going to be. Am I going to be 23, 24?
Oh,
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, you're going to be number. You're going to be. What's the section? Section 14. Number 14.
No, okay, yeah. Let's
Danger
go.
to herself and others.
Let's go, section 14. Your headphones don't even fit your
let's
big,
do it. Yeah.
massive, baldy head, do they? Egghead.
Did you say a matted, bolted head?
Your headphones don't even fit your head. Let's admit it. They don't even fit your head.
Oh, hit me where it hurts, why don't you?
You're on
Oh,
live.
she's not insulting
Your
my headphones.
headphones don't even fit your head.
I'm not biting.
Your headphones don't.
Fit.
No, don't bite. Don't bite, babes. Because that only gets you in more trouble, doesn't it? If you bite. Just stop.
Yeah, okay.
That's all you know how to do.
I'll just zip it then.
Go on then. Go on then. Go on. Zip it. Zip it. Zip it. Zippity. Zum. 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 Say no more.
Oh.
Go on. Watch.
Zippity,
Watch. A baby
zippity,
can't
zippity.
watch this.
Zoom,
A baby
zoom,
can't.
zoom.
Look.
That's all I ever
Look.
get from you.
Watch
Zippity,
the car.
zippity. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that how it goes? Okay, so now we've talked about nothing.
She's the kind of girl that you want to take to dinner.
All right, so
Right,
this
Not.
we were actually talking about something, Joni, before he came on. You can either kick him off or kick me off.
Yeah, MH370.
we can get back on track. That's what we can do.
Well, I don't think we can do that with dick shit in the backstage, doing right said Fred movements.
There's no dicks or shits in the backstage. Trust me. My backstage is empty. Okay.
Do you want to be in side piece? Okay, if you want to be side piece, okay.
Okay, so Zara was telling us, she just gave us a couple things that she thinks about in her spare time. Boily, what things, give me something you think about in your spare time. Zara's things included school shootings and this mysterious plane. So
no,
what do you think about?
It's not. I don't randomly think about fucking school shootings.
You have your turn. Boily, what kind of strange things do you think about in your spare time? Do you have thoughts?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think about how the old model of the solar system was on a plane. and it's now they're saying, well, the moon goes
Thank
around
you.
the Earth,
Thank you.
except for those who don't believe it, and then the Earth goes around the sun, so that there's a connection there. It's like an orbital connection, and then the sun goes around the center of the galaxy. So if the sun is flying around the galaxy, how comes the solar system can be on a plane? And then people said, well, it's not really on a plane. They're all just sort of like, well, what's making all the planets follow the sun around its course around the supermassive black hole? You did ask.
No, I did. And this is something you think about often. Do you research this? Do you look into this? What are your thoughts here?
No, not really. It's not top of most of my mind. It's just I thought it would be most it's something that I have wondered about, but it's not the most.
Can I just say, Billy, I
Uh-huh.
think we have a lot more in common than me hating and wanting to punch your face in. Okay.
Okay, don't do that, Zara. That's not nice.
I've just said more than me wanting to punch
More
your face
kisses, less smacks, more smooches.
in.
So really, so is
You
this?
are, hang on, you are actually quite attractive, Billy.
He's very good looking at.
Hang on,
Boy,
turn your chin down. Turn your chin down, Billy.
there you go. So Steve, though, seriously, is this the kind of the flat Earth round Earth kind of argument, though, that you
No. What he said he's looked into flat Earth and he's gone, I don't care about all the arguments. I'm not arguing for it. So there you go. He's a bit of a fag. He's a big fag. I know what it is, but I'm a fag.
Now you can't be ugly up here. You can have fun, but now seriously.
No, I'm being serious. I'm saying he's been a fag, but he can't follow it up in public. That's what just my head in.
Is this the thing that you do where you find somebody that says you can't back it up? So, I mean, why does it matter what he believes at this point?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, if people ask him the question, he says no and fucks them off instead of just saying no and this is wrong.
Well, maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe he just has that thought in his mind.
No, yeah, exactly. He doesn't have to. I get that.
Oh, that's fair. So Steve, so Boyley, so with this, is this because you hear other people talk about it, like a lot in channels, peripheral? You know, what is it about this thing that makes you so curious?
I suppose it comes down to pattern recognition. It's I've heard that version, and then I heard another version. I thought that doesn't match up with the first version. Then I heard another version. I thought I suppose it's something like a unified theory. It doesn't sort of like match up.
Zara,
like
come back, Zara. A unified theory.
Yeah, no, I don't know much about a unified theory, but I do know that I was taught that the planets. I was given a visual representation of the planets going round on a plane, almost as if they're all on a record sort of thing. But then, of course, they don't. They go around at different. I don't know what the word is, but
would you
not
say
axis, something like that?
Would you say this is something like a gut feeling you have that this is more accurate to what's happening than say that?
If by gut feeling you mean the gut feeling that we're being lied to, then yes.
Okay. So you're not sure exactly what's going on, but it's clearly not what they say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like a disruption of patterns.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm not totally sure. You know, yeah, those are I can go with all of those ideas there. You know.
Don't know why I'm switching my camera. Fuck it.
I you know, some people like their I don't. I find that I look at myself and then I'm self-conscious, and so I can't be myself. So with my camera off, it allows me to be myself more. I have my camera on. I can't not look at myself. I've tried. I'll zoom in, but even if I'm not having it in my visual, in my mind, I still know that I am on camera. So I'm still very aware of what I'm doing. And so I just decided I can't sit there freely and comfortably when my camera's on. I don't feel comfortable like that. I'm too
I treat
self-aware.
I treat the very same thing as exposure therapy, because I'm pretty rubbish with people, and especially face to face. So it's like the last thing I want to do is put my face up in front of people and try and act and look normal, and you know, try and say all the sensible things I think I've got to say, and then find out how they come out when I actually have to say them in front of people, sort of thing. It's like exposure therapy.
Do you think you kind of watch yourself then to critique yourself?
I don't spend my time with my eyes on my own face on the when it comes up, like, but every now and again, I suppose if you know, if because uh, we tend to talk about deep subjects,
Sure.
it tends to be that you kind of have to roam a bit with your mind, and in that way, your eyes go off a bit, and in that way, it's sort of like you kind of realize that people are watching, sort of thing, and what must I look like, sort of thing, and in that way, I suppose your eyes flick back to your own, not avatar, but your own image, to make sure that you're still, like, you don't look like an idiot because you forgot yourself for a second because you went on an extrapolative train of thought that you wouldn't normally go on. You know, you sort of, because you're in such good company, you let your mind wander a bit, and you think, oh shit, what are my eyes doing? Check the screen. Oh yeah, I
Right.
still look like an idiot. It's all right.
Well, I don't think that there's anything wrong with liking your camera on or off. I'm not actually a fan of immersion therapy. I've wrote papers
Doesn't
about
bother
why
me.
it's effective. But but at the same time, I do recognize that, I know people that told me they'd be an asshole if it wasn't for Jesus. And I'm like, well, then by all means, please believe in Jesus. Who would I be to stop you? So it's kind of like that. So I think it's you know, um, I'll
Whatever
tell you
gets
what,
you through the night, sort of thing.
when I can tell the difference between
No,
people when they have their camera on who are talking to themselves and who is just talking. So you'll watch them on camera and you can tell that they're actually talking to themselves. They're looking at themselves, usually touching their hair. They're usually making some type of funny face, usually fixing their shirts. They're very aware, which means they're only half into the conversation that's taking place, right?
yeah,
I don't even look at myself in the mirror at home. I don't like cameras. I don't like pictures. I'm not a selfie person. So for me, it's never been a part of my life. I've never even been one that likes to have pictures of myself on the wall, or no matter how cute I am. They're there, I'm sure, but it's not a thing with me, right? Could care less if there's a photograph of me in the house. So I don't own that. And so I don't need to identify with myself like that. I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, maybe, oh God, your hair's been sticking up all day. Why hasn't nobody told you? You look ridiculous. Other than that, but now some people might need to look at themselves all the time in order to become aware of themselves in a different way. You know what I
I've had a,
mean?
I've had a thought about this, Joni, for quite a long
Okay.
time. It's especially I notice it when people who are doing videos, like uploading videos, and you notice where their eyes are, and their eyes are often not on the camera like say a traditional professional broadcaster would be. Their eyes would be straight at the camera, like, wait, where's my camera? I was just going to set the camera and sort of show. Hang on, that's not
They're
it.
on a prompter. Their eyes are on the prompter.
They're either looking at the camera or their
Right.
eyes are off looking at themselves on the screen. So they're either looking at, because I think the thing is that there's something happens in the brain is that being such social animals, when your eyes naturally go to the nearest person around you, or the nearest most important social person around you, to see what's going on, whether you think about it or not. It seems to, I mean, it's natural enough that this isn't rock, everyone knows it, sort of thing. But if you then try and look into a camera and have the same affection that you would, or lack of affection, for someone who is there in front of you, because when your eyes meet their eyes, a lot of as you know, man, a lot of communication goes on, and before your brain gets even near it, or before your mind gets even near it, or your conscious mind at least. And that point, you kind of know what's going on. But if you're not making the eye contact with the person, you don't know whether or not to be friendly or wary or something. But when you're looking at a camera, there is no such reciprocation. So you know that it's really coming from the person's imagination. And at best, it's if someone's really is a people person and they're always talking to people, then the way they'll be talking to the camera is the way they'll be talking to people anyway, in a way that actually does resonate with a lot of people, because they do talk to a lot of people, as opposed to someone who's faking their countenance, faking their what they look like, putting their face into a nice way so that they look like they're telling the truth. I'm sure there's a point there somewhere, but I can't think
that's
of
an interesting thing you bring up, Boyley, because I had a thought. Now, I know that if I know something about, cluster B personalities, if you will, controllers, people that like to control, narcissists, if you like that word, the devil, if you like that one, is that they believe their own crap, right? They actually don't believe they're doing anything wrong. They have no idea why you wouldn't. What? Well, yeah, I can't keep abusing you. What are you talking about? They're oblivious. They're dumb blondes in the worst sense of the word.
Yep.
And so if I am trying to sell a story, say about my near-death experience, and I've wrote a book, and I want to go on lots of talk shows. I've embellished a little bit for my book because that's what sells, and I want people to buy my book. So boring story isn't going to be any good. I got to have something that trumped the guy before me that wrote a book. And so I go on my camera, and now when I'm talking to you, I'm actually not. I'm looking at myself on the screen and telling the story to myself. And that's that's what me as the viewer is actually saying. I'm saying that person recount that story from their own mind to their own selves. Do you get what I'm saying there?
I'm afraid I do, because I follow this back. Yeah, it's the term introject might be of use to you.
Ooh, introject, exactly. So it looks very realistic now from my perspective.
Well, they only exist in your mind. It's like the narcissist, and possibly the victim of the narcissist is really a narcissist again, or develops the same tendencies. That when they are talking to people, they're not really capable of having the interactive emotions. So they're only really engaging with their own imaginative version of the person that is in front of them. So that at any given time, the narcissist lives in a lonely world where the people that he or she talks to only exist in their head, even while they're talking to real people. It's introjection. Well, they are. Joni, the name you want to look up on this one is Professor Sam Vaknin.
I do. I actually am a big. Oh, wait.
Oh, right.
I'll take us out on a commercial with one of my favorite Sam Atkin quotes. On one of my, I have my bounce where we bounce out.
We'll be back after these short messages.
But I have, okay, so stay right there. Don't do anything. I'll put it, I've got a couple things.
Don't do anything?
Hang on, no, don't, just chill out for a minute. Let me find it. Here it is. Let me change this. Okay. Here we go. Is that the Sam you're talking about?
Yeah, can't be too many Sam Vaknins around.
Yeah.
He's the author of Malignant Self-Love, Narcissism Revisited.
Where do you think I get all my information from? I found him to be very helpful. He kept it real. He didn't, and I like him. And there's one other guy, and then there were a couple of women. I like Ramani. And then I liked the girl Angie Queen Bee for a minute. She was really helpful to me in the beginning because she had kind of a funky, wild, weird, quirky personality to herself. And at the time, I needed that. I needed something that felt kind of cartoonish as I was navigating through what appeared as to be a cartoon world that I found myself in, where people suddenly changed overnight into a completely different beast. I know yesterday you were my best friend, and now today you're sleeping with my husband. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are or he is or any of these people are. You're all alien abductees as far as I'm concerned. It literally felt like that. You know, it felt like the whole, you remember, Boyley, we've had talks about this in the past. Narcissistic abuse is such a strange one. And that gaslighting, you know, just like that, not being able to get a truth out of any of our leaders, not being able to get them to admit anything until we broke their arm, you know, and we're finally like, tell us, it's chemtrails, isn't it? Tell us. Yes, okay, you got me. There's no way that I can navigate a world where I'm consistently having to fight for the truth. So if that's the case, then you all are inadequate and need to be fired. So you're either acting with intent or incompetence. And either of those things equal you don't work here no more. That's what that equals. There, you know, you've
For
killed
you
me.
mean, Joni?
Huh?
For you, is that what it means?
What do you mean?
You were saying if you're not being genuine, then you're all fired.
No, I said I said that our controllers, so our leaders or our boss or our spouse or whoever is this controlling person in your life, they don't have your best interest at heart. So either two things are happening. Either one, they're incompetent, they don't know what they're doing, which I allow for. Or two, it's done with intent. They're intentionally out to deceive you. So either the magician, you know, they're doing a trick and ha ha ha, they make you laugh. Or they're intentionally going out to pickpocket you. And that's what I think happens with a lot of these global leaders we have right now in business and all of that, is that their absolute intent, there's pure intent involved. So regardless of how many apologies they make and how much money they give to whatever foundation and fund is going to set up for COVID injuries, that means nothing, because tomorrow everyone's going to be standing outside waiting for their prescription card so they can buy shit to combat the stuff that they just sued them for. I just, what? That's like having Munchausen by proxy, and the person you're poisoning says, hey, by the way, you're being poisoned by this person. And they go, that's okay, they're going to make me better. And they go home with them. And let that person that just poisoned them nurse them back to health. This is what I say. That's either incompetence or intent. And either of those two things in a business setting equals you're fired. So why are we still here with these people? What are we so afraid of? You know, like Zzenn was saying, we're gonna have a zombie apocalypse. We have an alien invasion. What are we so afraid of for saying no to them? No, I'm sorry, you can't. Where's the lawyers? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a rant, Boyley. Where are the lawyers with my skies? Okay, I personally, Joni does not like them spraying the skies. Anybody else? Okay, so I would like to sue them and tell them they can't do it anymore until they tell us what's in it, and then we've decided as a collective that we're okay with that. Because I guarantee you, if we were given a choice, we would say no, whatever those things are. I don't care what you say. I'll take the regular old clouds. Thank you very much. But you might die. That's fair. Maybe I will, but I don't want. You're telling me something that I don't know, an unknown. And I'm to accept an unknown. Yeah, go.
Do you think the answer might lie in this newfangled term, compartmentalization? Because it seems to me, I share the same view as you, but it's like in reality, sounds a bit brutal, but in reality, not a lot of people spend their time thinking about how the world could be better and what's wrong with the world. They're more bothered with what's like day-to-day things and there are too many of those already to even fit into 24 hours. To say there's not enough hours in the day because the things I've got to do just to keep a standard of life, let alone sit down and think about any one issue. in depth and not only think about it past my own personal bias, but try and think past it, which involves even a lot of people won't have the introspection to know what their own bias is. It's like, what? I have a bias? So there's no sitting down and thinking, well, they're spraying the skies. How's that going to get me to work on time? Or how's that
Mm.
going to solve the traffic out? And I'm already late anyway, and there's no time to think about it. And that again is a conspiracy theory sort of thing. It's like they've convenient. They're always arguing about the how many hours should constitute the working week, that sort of thing. And all they're doing is juggling with your time and ability to sit down and contemplate.
Uh-huh. I like what you're saying. So let me think what you made me think of there. Oh, it's very good.
It's yeah, I agree with your theory, and everyone would, in theory. The world we've got to start doing more good things and less bad things. Spread it.
That's it. That's what you made me think of. Because what you said was everybody's worried about day to day. I agree. And everybody's worried about what's wrong with the world. I agree. And nobody has any ideas of how to fix it other than prep, right? So buy a bunch of stuff and store it underground. Okay, that plant a garden. Well, we should all be doing that anyway. So I'm doing that. I'm one of those people that's, trying to get self-sufficient so I don't have to go out on their stupid roads or whatever it is that they have. I wish to break free from my controlling adult parent, government, whatever.
Super ego.
Right. Or they have some motive behind everything they're doing. Everybody, and even in what I'm doing. Do you know how many times people that you're going to sell your eggs? I will sell my eggs, but I'm not going to advertise them because I don't want to have some. If you're a neighbor and you want eggs, you can give me a few bucks and I'll give you eggs. How's that? Don't spend it at the grocery store. But I'm not going to have some health inspection come in here. I'm not interested in having a business card somewhere that somebody gets sick off of one of my eggs. And now that's the world we live in, right?
Litigation, eh?
Is that's the first thing everybody goes to anyway. Never even thought of that stuff until somebody says, are you going to do that? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to sell something? Are you going to make can you make money at it? That's the first thing everybody thinks of. So you're growing ducks. Can you make money off of it? I don't have any idea if I can make money off of it. I don't even know if I want to do that. That sounds like a lot of paperwork and people involved. So why do we live in a time right now where that's the first thing people go to? And they almost seem shocked by the fact that I don't want to do that. That I'm like, well, no, I mean, if you want to buy some eggs, well, no, but you can make, eggs are so high right now. Yeah, but that means I have to follow rules to do that. How about you just call me up? How about that? It just seems we're so why. Yeah. Sorry, Boyley. Why do you think that we need to be involved in something of some way that has some monetary purpose to it? What is my purpose-driven life?
Immediacy. The old. I hate to sound like a textbook, but and I don't know that much about it. What's it? Begins with M. He's got a table, Maslow's table of important shit. I think it's called.
Okay, important shit. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, because on Maslow's terms, or even that sort of thing, if you move your mind in that direction, it's like what do you really need immediately, and then it comes down to sort of like how many things are we taking for granted that we have that we don't realize that are actually plugging holes in our brain that should be saying, right, I need to be able to eat past tomorrow and the next week and as long as possible if possible, especially if you have dependents. And that part of our brain is plugged by the things. You got Uber Eats or Uber Eats. Uber, I'm
Right.
saying, but yeah. It's like it's so silent, the invasion of our need to actually think creatively about things, that that's what it comes down to. And now everyone is uh not drip fed, what am I thinking, spoon fed sort of thing, on a drip, like spoon fed on a drip. About it's like
Sure.
there are things that we're talking about that you really have to push your mind in order to think about. And who's got the time?
Mm-hmm. Who has time? Nobody got time for that. Remember that famous
Meme,
meme? That was
Ain't
great.
nobody got time for that.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot to consider when, there's a lot that can be talked about here. Fluent knows what you're talking about. The Maslov's hierarchy.
Yeah, MASLOW, is it?
Yeah.
Maslov, I think they call him.
But there's so many.
Maslov. Mind you, we're missing a very big point there, that it's triangular shaped with the point of the triangular heading upwards.
Right.
Pyramidal.
Oh, do it. Do you know that in magic, when a pyramid is shown, so when a hand goes into that pyramid shape there, do you know that a specific magic trick is being performed there?
Like unwittingly, even if you don't know you're doing it.
When you perform magic tricks, so I have a love for magic, right? So when you're performing a magic trick and you make your hands go into a triangle shape, it usually means something's vanished, or at least the illusion of it's being vanished. It's a little bit different than palming and misdirection, in the sense that the card or the item is in plain sight. It's just the way it's framed. Your perspective makes it look like it's disappeared. So whenever I see like the celebrities doing their little pyramid shape, that's a symbol in magic that something has vanished, but it's sitting right in front of you. It's not a palming. A palming means that it could be gone. It's hidden, a hidden hand, right? But that one means it's vanished. I can show you some magic tricks actually that show that point. I did some videos. Yeah, it's really a neat magic. Yeah, it's very neat. Anyway. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go and do some dinner things, and then I'm going to come back in a couple more hours. Let's see, what time is that? But yeah, in 2 more hours, 7 o'clock. And I'm going to have Zzenn back up, and him and I are just going to shoot the shit, because it's Sunday night, and well, what else do we have to do? So you guys can come back then. It'll be here again. I'm out of grounding. I have a restriction on Tuesday, so the Google dad, my googly dad, is going to let me out. My
might see you later then.
Okay, later, bye, boy.
Take it easy.
Thanks, Boily. Yay! I might have to have just Boily come back just for chats, and let him have just a panel to himself. All right, we'll bounce out today because we haven't done this in a minute. So thanks everybody for coming in, and we'll bounce out, and I'll see you back in a couple hours. Bye.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Rotten Studios. Remember, no contact is the road to freedom.